Pod Mortem would like to thank Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Original Cinematic is an independent production company that has made it their mission to create, produce, and promote films that are inclusive, honor women, promote the LGBTQIA+ community, and provide prominent positions and roles to POC actors and filmmakers, and promote the films of marginalized and underrepresented populations. These are all things that are extremely important to our podcast as well.
Original Cinematic is currently accepting scripts and treatments. Both William and Xxena Rush are available via email or Zoom to discuss writing and provide input and resources to all aspiring writers, free of charge. Their information will be made available in the show notes. There may be delays due to a hectic schedule and all projects being read on a first-come, first-served basis, but everything will be read and responded to. William Rush has individually produced numerous projects, including Pack is Here, Before, The Cottage, The Winemaker, and Day by Day. Their multi-award-winning film Group premiered and was celebrated at multiple film festivals as well as screenings, both in person and via Zoom, that were made graciously available to us and our patrons.
Original Cinematic has many exciting projects on the horizon. Their next film, Immersion, has been completed. The award-winning Sweetener is in development, Fetish begins shooting in September, and Encore will begin next spring. Their documentary Women in Conversation is slated for a September release, and we are looking forward to each and every one of them. It is truly an honor to partner with Original Cinematic, and we can't thank them enough for their contribution to our show. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Travis Hunter-Sayapin, joined as always by my co-hosts, my sister and my brother-in-law.
Hi, I'm Reneé Hunter-Vasquez.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
This week, we're broadcasting live from Mulberry Hill Psychiatric Hospital, discussing the 2016 supernatural horror film, Lights Out. This film was directed by David F. Sandberg from a screenplay by Eric Heiserer, based on the 2013 short film of the same name by Sandberg. Riding the wave of his viral short, producers sought to capture lightning in a bottle by expanding it into a feature film. With Sandberg's deft direction, compelling creature design, suspenseful sight gags, and a terrific use of tension, Lights Out would go on to achieve incredible box office success on a very low budget, with plans of a sequel gestating for almost a decade since its release. This film was suggested to us by friends of the show, Lisa Lotta, Kayla E., and Sydney Carr. We'd like to thank each and every one of them for their continued support of the show, as well as this suggestion. So, Lights Out. What were your first impressions on the film?
So, I think, for me, this is the first time I can say I do remember when I first seen this movie.
Hey!
I think all of us seen it.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
I remember being very entertained. You know what I mean? I did enjoy. I was like, oh, this is a fun time. This is crazy. I didn't really kind of like knock my socks off or anything, but it was fine. And I remember there were some things that kind of stuck with me that, like some imageries, in the movie. And I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
Watching it again for the show, I still had a lot of fun with it. I don't want to say that it was more than what it was. The movie does exactly what it needs to do. It's a good little movie, a fun time, a good theater experience.
That was my first time watching it too, when we watched it with T and our parents and the kids.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I think that I really liked the short film as well. And knowing that it's based off of that is really cool. I feel like it does exactly what it set out to do. I think that maybe the backstory is a little convoluted after a certain point. Maybe we break some rules set, for one of the characters. But I think that it's fun. I think that the type of story that they're telling, maybe they tried to do a little too much with the background, and that's where it gets a little bit muddy.
Okay.
But I think that overall, it's just this fairly simple. It's a very visual experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really cool. Like I said, I think it accomplishes what it sets out to do. Is it the most groundbreaking or amazing film that I've ever seen or we've ever covered? No, but it's like John Paul said, it's fun. It's a good time. It's a good like throw on movie. And in a weird way, I think that some of the themes are a little bit heavy, but I do think that this is like an accessible movie to show like your teen or something.
Okay.
I don't want to say too young because I don't want people to be like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
But whatever. Your older child that is getting into horror.
Mhm.
I think this is accessible because it is creepy. The suspense is really good. I will say because it is kind of a simple tale, it does run a little long because we go over the same thing a couple times.
Yeah.
But, it's fine. I think it's fun. It's good. It's not amazing. It's not bad. It's just a good little horror movie to just enjoy. Just throw on and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I remember the first time watching it, it was more a matter of the experience watching it.
Yeah.
And I came away from it just thinking like this is a perfect like popcorn horror film.
Yes.
Yeah.
But nothing really outside of that, and I don't really think it's aspiring to be anything more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the thing to me that I find it very puzzling that they're kind of attempting to take on such serious subject matter in a way that isn't very effective for me.
Right.
That's why it's like, oh no, show your kids. Well, wait.
Hold on.
There's one aspect that's
It's like, show it to your teens.
a little
If they're 18.
on their birthday.
But I do think from those subsequent watches since the first time, I still do have a lot of fun with it. It's just really in these bite-sized moments that it works the best for me. Because I think it does play with this kind of primal and maybe perpetual for a lot of people, myself included. I don't know about everybody else. But if you have gotten over this fear of the dark, I'm still not there yet completely. So there are a lot of moments here. And even whenever I was scripting it where the tension was like, this is really effective.
It is.
But I think that it just comes down to the story. I do not like this story.
Yeah.
And I think that it is a wild thing that a film 75 minutes before credits feels long.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then you've done something a little bit wrong with the pacing.
Yeah.
Because that should not be. And I learned that it was even supposed to be a little bit longer, but a portion of it was cut. And we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
But I think that the biggest issue for this film for me is the ending of the film.
Okay.
Because I feel like there is a particular reading of the film that you can glean from it that is not good.
Yeah.
And I do not think that that was the intention of the filmmakers, especially reading a lot of interviews with Sandberg. But to be so easily able to glean that from it, it's like, ooh, maybe we should have thought that through a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe not have tackled such serious subject matter in a film meant to be so fun.
I think that.
But there are like a lot of really, really good moments and a lot of good practical work that they do.
Yeah.
I was really, really impressed with a few of the sequences, and the opening of the film is so reminiscent of the short that I appreciate how everything comes out.
Yeah.
How it is presented and how it really lets the tension kind of build.
Yeah.
But from then on, and I think JP might have said it earlier before we started recording, it does feel like a stretched out short with not a lot there.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe a little more work on the narrative, and we could have maybe had something even more special.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I do have fun with the movie, but it is just that the parts where it does lack is the story. We are given, you know what I mean? We're gonna get into it.
Yeah,
but it is that we're told something or whatever, and then it's just like, okay, I get it.
It's like, can we get back to like the dark and shit?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, But before we get into the discussion of the film, I would like to talk a little bit about the production of it.
Okay.
I got a lot of the information I'm about to share and will reference throughout the episode from Daily Dead, Forbes, the AV Club, and the Los Angeles Times. So the story of Lights Out actually begins in 2013, which is 3 years before the film's release. Filmmaker David F. Sandberg and actress Lotta Lawson, a married couple from Sweden, became aware of a short film contest called the Bloody Cuts Horror Challenge out of the UK. The pair had wanted to get into making short films and even sought financing for them, but were turned down every single time due to their lack of experience and the potential financiers not being interested in the horror genre.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Fuck these unnamed people.
Yeah.
But this is when Sandberg and Lawson decide to just go for it and do it themselves.
All right.
So on a budget of literally $0, the pair created their second ever short film, the 3-minute short, Lights Out. It was submitted to the contest where it would become a finalist, and Sandberg would eventually win the Best Director award.
Very nice.
Well, it was a great short.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was. And I remember when it came out before any of the next part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were sharing it like all over the place.
Yeah.
But Sandberg and Lawson assumed that this would be the heights of what their short film would accomplish, was just these awards and this recognition from this contest. But it was only a few months later when the short was released on other platforms that it suddenly explodes in popularity and goes viral online, which is when we all saw it.
Yeah.
Right.
But in no time at all, Hollywood agents, managers, producers, and studios are reaching out to them, incredibly interested in working with them.
Now you're interested.
Yeah, suddenly. But Sandberg even mentioned that they were getting contacted by so many people that he had to get IMDb Pro just to see who these people even were.
Holy
Oh, wow.
But one of the first producers to contact them was Lawrence Gray, who happened to be a former film executive for Fox Searchlight Pictures, who just so happened to be launching his own production company, Gray Matter Productions.
All right. All right.
Gray had watched the short film in his office in Los Angeles in broad daylight, and even in this atmosphere, it scared the shit out of him. So he said that he was mostly interested in just meeting Sandberg with no expectations and no plans of where to go from there. But it was after talking with him that he realized he really wanted to work with him. And the idea became turning Lights Out into a full feature film. And Sandberg obviously jumped at the opportunity.
Well, yeah.
So Gray also had another contact in the industry that he really wanted to work with for many, many years. And he realized that this could be the perfect opportunity for them to do so. This is the one and only James Wan.
Oh, wow.
Ah.
And as it turns out, Wan had already seen the short film and was a huge fan of it, but he wasn't sure if it could be made into a feature, if it could be fleshed out enough.
Right.
So Gray tasks Sandberg to write a 15-page treatment for the film, which, after it's sent to them, it not only emboldens Gray to make it, but it wins over James Wan and earns his seal of approval.
Very nice.
So from here, everything falls into place and starts to happen very, very quickly. Gray enlists screenwriter Eric Heiserer to flesh out the treatment into a proper screenplay. He flies Sandberg and Lawson to Los Angeles, and James Wan gets New Line Cinema involved in the project.
Damn.
All right.
And I wanted to mention, Heiserer's name sounded really familiar to me, and so I looked through his filmography, and I was like, all right. Because at first, it was the Nightmare on Elm Street remake,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then it was Final Destination 5, which is, you know.
Okay.
But then I see the same year that Lights Out came out, he wrote Arrival.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, and he went on to be nominated for an Oscar for that.
And should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, this whole time, very understandably, Sandberg and Lawson are kind of in a whirlwind because they have real day jobs at home in Sweden, and they're like being flown out to Hollywood to work on this feature film. And so with everything moving so fast, they had to quit their day jobs at home, fly to LA, and they had no idea when or if they would be back.
That's crazy.
So and this kind of annoyed me a little bit, but the studio, very oddly, paid for their hotel for 1 week. And this forced them to live month to month in Airbnbs because they didn't have any credit history in the United States.
Oh my God.
So this whole time, they're borrowing money from their parents to make ends meet. And at the exact same time, they're being invited to industry events by James Wan. They went to the Furious 7 party.
What the fuck?
And they're standing there with celebrities as far as the eye can see and just feeling like massive imposters.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But speaking of this feeling of being an imposter, Sandberg, surprisingly, had been given the job to direct Lights Out without any experience of ever having been on a film set before. Gray was incredibly adamant about him directing the film because he trusted Sandberg's vision, and he said that meeting him and talking with him was the entire vetting process, and he trusted him implicitly.
Okay.
But when it comes time to actually make the film, Sandberg himself said that the set was a bit tense because they surrounded him with a very experienced crew to make up for his inexperience, and they were a little bit standoffish at first because Sandberg, he said, I had to ask the AD, like, when do I say action? And stuff like that. And they're just like, this fucking guy, you know?
That's not his
It's
fault,
Yeah,
though.
that's not on him.
No.
Oh my God. I would be like spiraling.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to afford where I'm staying at tonight, and you have me at fucking Fast and my money's gone fast and I'm furious. Like, this is insane. And then I'm here and everybody's side-eyeing me 'cause
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, I'd hear that. We're done. Yeah, wrap it for the day.
Crazy.
Didn't you say James Wan wanted to direct this?
Get James on the phone.
But Sandberg kind of hit the ground running, and he treated this process as his film school. And he learned the tricks of the trade while also adapting very well and very quickly to the environment. But he would later admit that making Lights Out was much more stressful than it was fun because he has this incredible learning curve ahead of him.
Yeah.
Another thing, again, you're going from having a $0 budget to having a $5 million budget.
Yeah.
And so he says, you know, if you hear that, you're like a kid in a candy store, and then you start getting, like, not notes from the studio, but you're like, hey, can we have rain in this scene? And they're like, you can't afford that. He's like, we have $5 million. They're like, you can't afford that.
I would have no concept.
At all.
Can like I do it myself though? Shit, I'll put some black plastic bags,
Yeah.
poke some holes in it.
Poke
Yeah.
holes.
Yeah, we got a water hose out back. Shit, we'll make it rain.
I would have
Uh-huh.
no concept. That is an insane, unimaginable amount of money
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
To be told that you can't afford rain, and it's that I just wouldn't even know where to begin.
No, it's like, you know, it's water, right?
Yeah.
How much did this bagel cost? Like, is that going to set us back? I don't even. This is wild. This is wild.
But thankfully, things did improve as time went on. And he said that James Wan would visit the set frequently, and he was a very hands-on producer and collaborator. But it's very interesting. He told a story before the crew started really following his direction completely. He wanted one of the scenes to be lit only with candlelight. And he's like, it would look great, and if we did that, it would be very real.
Mm-hmm.
And the crew was like, yeah, we can't do that. I don't know why you think that we could.
You can't afford candles.
No. The candle budget's through the roof. But James Wan visits the set, and he's like, hey, I think it would be really cool if we lit a scene with candlelight. And everyone's like, great idea, James.
Oh my
Wow.
So it's one of those.
Yeah.
Which is really unfair.
Yeah.
And unfortunate.
I feel really bad for
Yeah.
this guy.
And another part of it is, as things do, Sandberg's initial idea for the film changed a lot during production because of input from producers and other people involved in the project. And we'll get into that later, too. But at the end of the day, the film scored incredibly well with test audiences before its release, and it would go on to be quite a box office success. I think it made almost $150 million on that $5 million budget.
Woo!
Talk about profit.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now we can afford rain.
Yeah.
But it effectively launched Sandberg's career. And before this film was even out, I think he was hired to direct Annabelle Creation.
Okay.
And he's gone on. I think he made Shazam. He made the Until Dawn film. Like, he's made a lot of things, and it's all because of this little short,
Yeah.
3 minutes long.
It's really inspiring.
It
Yeah.
is.
Now, before we slink around the shadows of this film, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Pod Mortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, let's shut off the lights. So before the film begins, to the accompaniment of swelling strings, we're treated to the production vanity plates, all of which succumb to subtle flickering.
Submersion!
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
But the film opens properly on the bright, buzzing bulb of a street lamp, arcing from underneath it to settle upon the illuminated exterior of Wells Textiles.
I'll be honest, for a second, when we came out, I don't know why, I thought it was a thumbprint.
Oh.
So I was like, this is an interesting way to show, somebody's identity or whatever's going on. And then it was just fucking streetlight.
Yeah, it's a lamp. Which is cool, too.
It is.
I like that they're kind of having this... I mean, the film's called Lights Out, so I don't know what you expect. But I thought it was neat.
Yeah.
But inside the warehouse, we peer past a mass of mannequins, some covered in sheer plastic, which stand beneath an array of overhead lights and into an office window where the ringing of an incoming call emanates. Sitting at his desk is Paul, played by Billy Burke, who answers a FaceTime from Martin, his young son, played by Gabriel Bateman.
Billy Burke. I recognized this man, and I was like, it was killing me. Then when I finally did my research, he was in Along Came a Spider in 01, Twilight in 08, Twilight New Moon in 09, and Twilight Eclipse in 2010.
Well,
so,
good
yes,
for him.
I
You know, yeah. I wonder what it would be like for us to cover Twilight.
Yeah.
I have never seen Twilight.
Me neither.
I've seen all of it.
I think it would be an absolute blast. It's like
Oh, yeah.
woven into like the fabric.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the references. All of that. I think it'd be fun.
And Gabriel Bateman. He was in the Child's Play remake from 2019.
Uh-huh.
I know. And Unhinged in 2020.
That's probably better. But the pair greet each other, the boy's small voice asking his father if he's coming home soon. Paul tells Martin that he should be leaving in about an hour or so, but he asks his son what's up and where his mom is. Martin sits troubled in their living room under the light of a lamp, distressed that his mother doesn't seem to be feeling well. Paul already knows this and assures his son that he's working on getting her better. Just a sidebar, like a nitpick when it comes to the screenwriting, if you're a fan of the phrase "get her better," then this is the film for you. It's just like, can we not find it better? No pun intended, another way to say that. But Martin looks around a bit before expressing his deep concern. It's just that she's been talking to herself. This seems to hit Paul, who pauses for a moment before reiterating that he'll be home very soon, promising that he's going to get Martin's mom better.
I don't believe you.
No.
Maybe say it one more time.
Yeah. Martin seems to accept this, somewhat relieved at his father's words, and they bid each other goodbye with a "see you soon." Not to telegraph anything. Just for the record. Paul sighs deeply after the call disconnects, rising from his chair to snag a box from the other side of the room, which is filled with folders. Framed by the clothed mannequins behind him, Paul reaches into the box to retrieve a weathered file, worn red letters at the side of it broadcasting Mulberry Hill, California, along with text denoting its confidentiality and a weathered label at the corner which reads Lloyd, Sophie.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the presence of the mannequins in this office.
No.
And anybody else? I know that this is clearly an ongoing situation with him actively doing research, but when your child calls you afraid and says she's talking to herself, the fact that he's like, well, I'll see you when I see you back.
Yeah, he was afraid.
Later,
Yes.
he's like, well, I'll be there in about an hour and a half or something like that. I'm like, dude, go home.
Yeah.
Go home.
Well, the textiles won't textile themselves. I don't know. But
these mannequins are lonely.
No, they need clothes.
it reminded me of Josh in Insidious when he's like, no, these tests, man, I got a grade.
It's like,
each
what?
and every one of them.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't bring the key home. That's against the rules.
That's so fucked up.
Just as Paul opens the file, but before he can properly peruse its contents, he's interrupted by a knock on his office door. Esther, one of his employees, played by Lotta Lawston, asks him if he wants anyone on overtime tonight.
Very cool.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think she has a cameo in every single one of Sandberg's films.
I love
very
that.
nice.
But an overwhelmed Paul answers that he doesn't. Stuttering as he closes the file folder in his hands, he directs Esther to go ahead and just close up shop. He stashes the file away into the box as Esther lingers for a moment in the doorway, looking back at her boss somewhat suspiciously before making her exit. But we cut to Esther, standing outside of the office in a long corridor, scribbling away at paperwork attached to a clipboard. We spy her through a series of overhead spotlights, a trail of bright symmetrical circles dotting the dark floor in both directions.
Are lights going to spoil the textiles? Like, why is it so fucking dark in here?
Atmosphere.
No!
But suddenly, the lights shut off, Esther waving above her head to set off the motion detectors to turn them back on. When they return to luminous life, Esther stands somewhat unsettled when the contents of a clothes rack right in front of her jostles from left to right by an unseen force.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
It's like you said, you didn't want anyone overtime?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm gonna head out.
I'm already in my car.
Yeah.
As the clothes continue to sway, Esther looks both ways, but without a source for the disturbance, she picks up her pace, crossing through the corridor and over to an adjacent workroom, which just so happens to be empty of all personnel. She reaches into the room to shut off the light, but in the new darkness, a silhouette, played by Alicia Vela Bailey, suddenly appears, carved out of the low light of a connected hallway on the opposite side of the room. It stands frail, its head tilted curiously within a nest of unkempt hair, and its arm outstretched at its side, its hand a slender claw at its hip. The score rises suspensefully as Esther leans in to get a closer look, quickly switching on the light, which only unveils the anxiety etched at her brow. We see just over Esther's shoulder that there is no one there, but when she switches the light off again, the figure reappears, only to evaporate once more with the flick of the switch.
I love how this looks. It is very well done. It's very unsettling. She looks very creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But Esther,
Come on.
Mhm.
I'm like, whatever the fuck that is would be slipping in my vomit trying to get me as I'm fucking sprinting out of this building. She's like, maybe this time. It's like, no,
Yeah.
bitch, run. Get out of there.
It was that because she did it a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, stop with the fucking light. Just leave it on.
Absolutely.
Leave it
Leave it on
on
and run. Flee.
And I think that's the thing, is that seeing it once is bad enough, and then it disappears the one time, as we're saying. There is no need to be playing this. Now I'm in Australia. Now I'm in America.
Yeah.
Game.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I understand a second bite. I want
Fair.
to, that's fine. After that, you just like the taste.
Yeah.
Like you just don't.
Just be honest.
Yeah,
But it does look very cool.
it does.
Yes. But Esther continues clicking the light switch. On, off, on, off. The shape disappearing and returning over and over. But with one last flip of the switch, dipping the room to darkness, the figure materializes right in front of Esther, the small bright pinholes of its eyes peering right at her. The score shrieks as Esther hits the switch again, now all alone in the doorway of the well-lit workroom.
I read a Daily Dead interview with Alicia Vela Bailey, and she had said that for the eyes, because she couldn't see a lot of the time because of how they accomplish this kind of like shine, weird like pinhole, whatever the hell you can see of her eyes. She had goggles on that had reflective tape on it that caught the light to give this creepy ass, stare, whatever.
Yeah.
But she said for a lot of this, it was very difficult to see because she had those goggles on. But it looks and it's accomplished with reflective tape. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's that $0 budget.
Yes.
training.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's on the cool, man. That's really, really fucking, because I wouldn't have thought that. Honestly,
No.
looking at it, it's like, oh, you CG put that on there. You know, but it does look good.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's one thing I really do respect this film for, is they talk a lot in interviews about how nearly 100% of what we see is done practically.
That's crazy.
I love that.
Even the disappearing and reappearing,
Yeah.
it's all just a trick of cinematography and editing.
Yeah.
They do like a split screen situation. They film the same sequence twice, once with her, once without her, and then they just edit her in and out.
Yeah.
But the effect of it is so remarkable.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be that simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need to go beyond that because it is effective.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the office, Paul still sits at his desk, but now he's on the phone with someone. He suggests that at the very least, the person on the other end could get her to stop locking herself in the closet, offering an agreement to the other person's response and insisting that maybe they don't call it an intervention. Instead, they could call it... But an understandably uneasy Esther enters the room, clutching her hands over the purse hanging at her shoulder as her voice shakes. Paul? Paul silently asks for 1 second. But Esther cannot wait that long, shuddering that she saw something. When Paul just continues his conversation, lamenting that the whole thing is really starting to take its toll on Martin, Esther calls out for her boss with more urgency. Reluctantly, Paul places his hand over the phone, asking Esther what's going on, but she just trembles that there was something in the back room. Paul wonders what she means by something, but Esther herself doesn't know, revealing that whatever it was disappeared. Paul just sighs, explaining that he really needs to deal with this phone call, and he suggests for Esther to just go home. But before Esther makes her exit, she warns him, "Be careful on your way out, okay?" Paul agrees absently, returning promptly to his phone call and telling the person on the other end that he'll be home in about an hour.
That's painful, dude. But I'm like, first of all, there's something in the back room. That's all I can think. But no, first of all, bless you, Esther,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
even stopping in here to fucking warn this dude.
No, this is my last day at Wellman Plastics or whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
Never
no.
coming back.
No.
Never. Even if his office is on the way to the door, I'm a blur. I'm the Flash. But I understand that Paul is dealing with a lot. A lot. I get that. But how do you see someone who was fine 2 minutes ago
Yeah.
come back to your door fearful, shaking, saying, I saw something in the back room, to not even ask a follow-up question? Like a bug? Like a person? Like a...
That's true.
I mean,
No.
like not
That's
even...
fair.
What you saw? What do you mean? What did you see?
Because it could literally be just like a cockroach.
Yeah.
Right.
She never says it was in the shape of the scariest human I've ever seen in my fucking life.
But also that Esther could have given a little more information.
True.
Not only that, just getting off the phone call with my son, then you're telling me that. No, we can go together.
Right.
Give
Yeah.
me 1 second.
Yes.
I will go with you.
Why do I need to stay for another hour?
Yeah, I don't.
Because he doesn't want to go.
But that's something else that kind of pisses me off a little bit, because what we learn about Paul and what we already saw, he's doing research.
Yes.
So you should know that this is a little more serious than what you are reacting to.
Right. That was kind of my thought, but I was going to wait until we got into his research.
No, that's
Okay.
true.
But
I didn't even think about that.
It is that too. We did see you looking through there.
Yeah.
You're still cool.
And he brought it to work?
Yeah, no shit.
He needs something to read at night while he's hiding out from his family.
For that extra hour.
Yeah.
But all alone in the office now, Paul gets off of the phone, looking up at a family photograph on his desktop monitor. The photo features himself, Martin at the center, and standing at his side is a smiling Sophie, Paul's wife, played by Maria Bello.
Maria Bello. I remember her from Coyote Ugly in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
She was also in The Cooler in 03, A History of Violence in 05, and Secret Window in 04.
Yes.
Yes. I was really surprised. I did not remember this being her.
No.
But I was pleasantly surprised to see her, although I feel like we don't get a lot of her.
I don't think so either. And we'll get to her in just a minute, but I feel like her performance is probably the strongest in the film.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what she does with the little time she's given.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. And I forgot too that it was her.
Yeah.
But Paul gathers his things, his keys jingling in his hand as he crosses through the series of spotlights in the corridor on his way toward the building's exit. Before he can make it there, though, an object tumbles distantly, its echo reaching Paul and making him stop to take a glance over his shoulder, past the bright beams illuminating nearby machinery and into the darkness that surrounds him. His keys jostle in his nervous fist as he retreats from the exit and steps nearer to the source of the sound. But as he makes his way through the warehouse and turns to look down an adjacent passageway, Paul discovers the figure, silhouetted between the two spotlights that separate them and crouched deep to the ground with its knees parallel to its thin shoulders. No, that's creature posture.
Yeah.
And this is why I got a little pissed off, because as the score sizzles around him, Paul asks, Esther?
I laughed out loud.
So this is so Esther.
Yeah.
Esther's always crouching and crawling around in the dark.
It's like, I said go home.
I said you can leave.
Oh, man.
But at a distance, the figure rises, its bones crackling as it reaches its full height, just as the lights shut off. Paul frantically waves his arms, the light switching back on to reveal the figure standing sinister in the shadows, now with only one spotlight separating it from Paul. Paul gasps to discover this, glancing around nervously to the left and to the right, but when his eyes return down the corridor, the figure has suddenly disappeared. The score whines as Paul mutters a determined, "Okay," before he takes off running in the other direction. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
if he did anything besides run, I was going to be pissed off.
That was me. It was like, dude, you're standing there too long. You've seen enough.
What more? What more do you need?
Yeah. I the first time, I'm not. Esther's at you? Hell no.
No. Esther doesn't have claws.
Yeah. No. Lock up when you're done.
I'm going home. But as he rushes toward his office, the circular lights charting his path forward, he suddenly loses his footing, clattering to the concrete floor. He reaches his feet uneasily, glancing downward to discover the lower right leg of his pants torn to ribbons and a fresh red wound slashed into the flesh beneath it.
Whew.
He stands shakily as just before him in the darkness rises the thin figure, an unearthly breath escaping it as it stares through its small white eyes at Paul. It inches its way forward, only to stop at the border of the brightness cast from the overhead light. Paul takes notice of this, glancing upward and establishing the rules that may or may not be followed somewhat for the rest of the film. But he realizes just how close he is to the sanctuary of his office, and he takes off running, reaching the room and slamming the door behind him, switching on all of the lights inside.
It's a shadow, but it's slow? Because there wasn't any more light from there to the office.
I think it was just the two spotlights, but there's shadows all around you.
Yeah.
All around, yeah.
Not to call back to other films we've covered, but the Tooth Fairy would be all over this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
No, she
on
wasted
the wall,
no.
on the
Yeah.
She wasted not an ounce of darkness.
Paul pokes out his head to peek through the large window of his office and out into the warehouse. With no sight of the figure, he searches for something to protect himself, finding a baseball bat resting on a stack of shelving at the far wall. He holds it out defensively, watching through the window as the lights of the warehouse shut off again, dipping the sprawling space to darkness. But far more frightful is the fact that just above him, the small light fixture of his office begins to flicker, and against Paul's fearful protests, the light goes out.
I do want to say one thing when I was watching this, and I know that it happens a lot, and it's just kind of what it is. I would enjoy if we had a monster or supernatural or something like this, but we just kind of stuck to that instead of being able to turn off the electricity and shut off the light, or like the car, or something stalls out. I was like, oh my God, the ghost's here. Can't like make the ghost work for it. Make it creative. Do you know?
I totally agree, because my question was, isn't that like kind of cheating? Like I feel like you're like you're spamming it.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
I mean, isn't it enough? Like he got away.
Yeah.
And then even with what we learn about everything through the backstory, I don't know how this gives this creature domain over anything.
Yeah. No.
It's like now I'm electricity. It's like it doesn't make any fucking sense. And to your point, honestly, we established that the lights in the warehouse go out periodically.
Yeah.
So we have a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just like, well, we got to get past this intro.
Yeah.
You know?
But again, we can figure out a way to make it more dramatic or make the payoff worth it.
For sure. Honestly, why not just have this creature throw something through the window and shatter the bulb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple and it works.
It's simple, very simple.
Yeah.
They're like, there's no way to turn lights off if not supernaturally.
Yeah. Wow.
I do it every day, but whatever. Paul cowers closer to the corner of his office, his eyes widening with dread as the knob on the door begins to twist until it finally opens. A low, eerie breath seems to surround Paul as he glances around nervously, inching further away from the open door.
Her using a doorknob was also funny to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's like, again, how much we're being very strange with this thing's powers.
Yeah.
It's like, I can turn lights off with my mind, but you will need to let me inside.
Yeah. That almost makes it kind of less scary. Yeah. I just barricade myself in here.
Honestly, yeah. But suddenly, Paul is launched backward, screaming as he's swallowed by the shadows, his bones crunching sickly as he disappears into the darkness. We survey unlit areas inside of the warehouse in the stillness of the night, until out of nowhere, Paul's body lands with a thud as the lights return, and he lies a twisted mess within its bright beam, blood coating his corpse, the hollow vacancy at his eyes, staring into eternity as the lights once again flicker to full dark.
If this was like early 2000s, Drowning Pool would be playing.
Mudvayne?
Or
Mudvayne, something
yes.
like that.
I first of all, this is a really cool cold open. I think.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
But the first thing I'm thinking is he was really helping his son. Like they were dealing with something very serious, and I'm like, now his son is all alone.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
Where we go from here, I'm like, so was that just that, and now we're on to something different? That was my first thought.
Right.
Yeah. Oh no.
I was
Yeah.
like, so we're never gonna find out what was happening.
No. Something else that I thought was really interesting is I don't know why she took his eyes. And I don't think we ever learn, but that's a visual that we see later in the film too.
Yeah.
I wish they would have done something with that, because the way her eyes are too, that could have been a setup for something.
True.
Or like why she's doing it.
And I mean, it gives room for more lore.
Yeah.
Which is always cool.
Yeah, because it could even be like the folk tales where it's like they don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
Right.
And that could be why she's lurking in the shadows instead of, maybe another story that we get.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say even that other story had the don't look, and it was like, oh, okay.
Oh, true.
Yeah. So.
So take your ass to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It honestly puts me in the mind a little bit of Dead Silence too.
Okay, yeah.
Don't scream, she'll take your tongue.
Right.
Don't look, she'll take your eyes. Like it could have been like a little fairy tale.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No. It's much more personal. But to eerie vocalizing in the score, thin white letters fade in, revealing the title, Lights Out. But when we return, a heavy metal track plays loudly over nearby speakers as we settle on an illustration adorning a tapestry. It features a nude vampiric woman with long black hair and soulless eyes wiping blood from her mouth, the crimson liquid imbuing her gray flesh.
So I just had to wait a little longer. It was coming. Yeah.
I thought, and this is cool because it seems like, okay, well, it's relevant to what we saw, but maybe it doesn't have a full connection.
Right.
But when we realize more about the character that probably drew it, that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But we pan from it over to a bed resting beneath a window, red neon light leaking through the blinds, to find Rebecca, played by Teresa Palmer, and a shirtless Brett, played by Alexander DePerzia.
Teresa Palmer. She was in I Am Number 4 from 2011, Warm Bodies from 2013, and The Fall Guy from 2014.
I do have my squabbles with the writing of this film.
Yeah.
But I do think that these two actors have really decent chemistry together.
I agree. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the room is well lit by lamps on either side of the bed, and we watch as an antsy Brett sits up to lean a little closer to Rebecca as he eagerly asks, "Hey, what are the chances that we go again?" Rebecca mulls it over for a mock moment before announcing that these chances are slim to none. She smiles, stepping out of bed in her black negligee and telling Brett that she's going to go take a shower. Brett sits upright, offering to join her, but Rebecca just crosses through the beaded divider to enter the other room, commenting that if he did, he would smell like girly soap. Brett just smiles, taking it all in stride, as Rebecca retires to the bathroom for a solitary shower. Steam rises from the other side of the shower curtain as Rebecca snags her towel, shutting off the water and stepping out of the tub. She crosses over to a circular mirror hanging on the wall, wiping away the fog to stare somewhat forlorn at her own reflection. But her introspection is interrupted when Rebecca hears Brett snoring in her bed from the other room. She returns to find him fast asleep, snapping her fingers right in front of his face to wake him up. When this doesn't work, she squeezes his cheeks, which jolts him out of his slumber. He promises sleepily that he's awake, and though Rebecca affectionately calls him Marathon Man, she warns him not to think that he's about to stay the night. Brett rolls over out of bed, his feet reaching the floor as he asks to stay for just one night. But Rebecca stands steadfast as she gathers some garments from a nearby dresser. Brett can't believe that he's about to be kicked out in the middle of the night, but Rebecca assures him that he's going to be okay, offering that he's not a puppy. Brett just pulls on his jeans, countering that he thought he was her boyfriend. But Rebecca just scoffs. Boyfriend? Who said anything about boyfriend? Brett stands, his face sinking solemnly, and Rebecca tries her best to clean it up, explaining that he's a guy, the only guy that she's been seeing. Brett reminds her that it's been 8 months, and clutching a shirt and a pair of leopard print shorts, Rebecca responds in surprise that it's been that long. But as she exits into the other room to get changed, she comments that officially puts Brett in first place.
Come on. We've been seeing each other for 8 months. Yeah, come on. That's crazy.
She's like, wait, what?
Brett just smiles as he settles into a seat to put his socks on, suggesting that maybe he could keep a pair of jeans here, only to swiftly be denied. He then issues a counteroffer of one sock, which inspires Rebecca to wonder what he would do with just one sock. And Brett seizes on this. Having not yet heard a no, he inquires, "Is that a yes?" Rebecca shatters his dreams, leaning into the room with an emphatic no and telling him to get out of here because she has work tomorrow. We do not see her work at all in this film. I do want to point that out.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that she lives just above a tattoo shop, it became headcanon.
Yeah.
That she does artwork for the tattoo shop.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
I honestly forgot all about it.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
But Rebecca hangs up her towel, with Brett countering that it's not like having a sock here means she can't get rid of him. Socks aren't anchors, after all.
Yeah, he's right.
I mean, he is. Rebecca puts a stop to Brett's request, reminding him that they'll see each other tomorrow night at a gig, suggesting to just agree to that. Brett finally relents, but with Rebecca out of the room, He slyly slides off one of his socks and stashes it into Rebecca's half-opened drawer.
Cute.
From the other room, Rebecca lets out a sigh, asking if Brett is still there. We then cut abruptly to Rebecca leading him out of her apartment and literally pushing him into the hall. She reminds him that she'll see him tomorrow, but a somber Brett tells her that one of these nights she could let him, only for his words to be cut off by a quick kiss on the lips from Rebecca, who bids him goodbye with a silent wave before shutting the door in his face. A wounded Brett offers a muffled, "Love you too." He exits out onto the street, walking over to his car, which is parked at the curb just in front of the tattoo shop. But before he can make his way inside, Rebecca calls out from the second floor, "Hey, sexy!" Brett turns to face her with a smile as Rebecca reveals that she likes him. A lot. Brett wonders if that's all, but Rebecca shares that there's actually one more thing. And she tosses his sock back down to him from the window.
Also cute.
Yeah.
Brett catches it, lamenting that he was so close. But the pair smile at each other as Brett turns to approach the driver's side of his car, and Rebecca puts her back to the wall of her bedroom, clearly and absolutely in love with Brett. Like, this is very...
Yeah.
Yeah. One day, before she knows, he'll be in there living. He'll be there.
You speak from experience.
Yes.
But as she steps a little deeper into her apartment, we press in on a photograph that she passes, which rests on a shelf in her bedroom. In it, we see Rebecca standing among the greenery of a park with her arms around Martin, her little brother. The pair smiles at the camera together.
Oh.
Yeah, and oh shit, I didn't know he was Batman.
I know. And he's just letting everybody know. Like, you can't be doing that.
But it's like, now we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did enjoy this little tie-in. Because I did wonder, again, like you said, babe, what was going on with the beginning? What the hell?
It's like, I guess we're moving on.
Yeah. But this, I did like this.
But when we pull back from the photograph, we see that it's resting elsewhere on another shelf. And we pan to the left to find the photo that once adorned Paul's desktop. Then over to a framed obituary featuring a picture of Paul, which is entitled Compassionate Entrepreneur.
That is an odd thing to highlight.
Yeah.
Not father or
No. Yeah.
husband.
Father, husband, anything. But this was a very cool transition.
Yeah.
We're understanding how these two sets of characters are connected.
Mhm.
Right.
But my main wonder, because they have the framed obituary, is how much time has passed.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because the way that it seemed to me, whenever we go from Wells Textiles and then Paul gets killed,
Yeah.
right to Rebecca and Brett, I thought it was the same night.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
It does.
And are we supposed to infer that Rebecca is who he was on the phone with?
It's literally never talked about.
No.
Right.
But I really think that's the only thing that makes sense.
Because who else knows about this and is involved? We don't know anybody else.
No.
It does make sense. And even when I was watching at the beginning, I was like, oh man, whoever he's telling that to, I hope they help him.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, he's dead. Well,
Yeah.
all right, well, this
Never
couple's
mind.
cute. Like, it's just like, you don't think about it.
No.
You're like, let him leave a sock behind.
Yeah, it's fine.
Come on, man.
But as the camera continues to pull back, we find Martin alone in his bed, beneath the light of his bedside lamp, and sitting up when he hears a conversation leaking through his cracked open bedroom door. He calls out to his mother as the conversation continues, creeping out of his bed when she doesn't answer him. He spies the hall through the crack in the door, peering across the way and over to his mother's unlit bedroom. He slowly creaks the door open and takes cautious steps across the carpet and over to his mother's door, whispering for her. But when he reaches her room proper, he finds Sophie standing fretful, lamenting that she doesn't know what to do about it, that she's just so sorry. But when Martin mutters, "Mom?" Sophie turns to face him, feigning calm as she asks him what's up. Martin steps into the room slowly, asking if she's all right, with his mother answering that she will be, though it's gonna take a while. But Martin glances over in the direction of where his mom seemed to be speaking, finding nothing but the darkness inside of the unlit adjoining bathroom. Sophie asks, "Did we wake you?"
We
I don't even want to ask Mom. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah.
literally,
You're
and
good.
also, are you dating that monster now? What the hell is going on?
It was all a plot.
Yeah.
Martin takes a step back toward the hall, rightfully confused, but Sophie kneels down in front of her son, telling him that he needs to get back to bed, as the only ones who should be wandering the halls at this hour are grown-ups. And ghouls. She doesn't say that.
Clearly, though.
But Martin's eyes finally leave the abyss of the bathroom to look down at his mother. Following her direction, he creeps out of the room, Sophie's face souring as soon as he turns his back to enter the hall. But halfway to his room, a creaking noise emanates from within his mom's bathroom, causing him to turn around. He sees Sophie standing there, offering him a sweet goodnight. But suddenly, above her, a long-fingered hand stretches out from the bathroom, reaching for the door frame as a figure lurches out of the shadows to a sharp sting in the score, dipping the room even deeper into darkness.
What the hell?
Literally.
Nay said off mic earlier, she's like, "Isn't that a little early for that?"
It is. It's too much too fast. Yeah. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? And the mom's right there.
Yeah.
We're talking casually. We're weeing all over the place.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And that was, why would you say that? Why the fuck would you say that, Sophie?
The monster's like, or whatever this is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to take your father's place.
But I would like to get to know you.
Not this way, monster.
No.
I was like, what is happening? Mom is watching all of this happen.
Yeah.
Martin takes off running, racing for the safety of his bedroom, slamming the door and locking it before launching into his bed and cowering beneath the covers. He shivers fearfully, watching as the light in the hallway that bleeds beneath his door is suddenly shut off, and heavy footsteps plod their way across the carpet and over to his door. Frail fingers scratch against the wood, his doorknob trembling a squeak as someone tries to open it. The knob begins to shake more feverishly as Martin's bedside lamp flickers dimly, startling him. He slinks away from it as the camera presses in on his closed bedroom door, the score rising eerily as we retreat to the exterior of the Tudor Revival mansion that his family calls home. Textiles are the fucking...
Clearly, we're in the wrong fucking business. But I'm like, that's how this scene ends?
Yeah. We see his bedroom window. It's the only one illuminated in the house, and that is it.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, Mom, this is your guest. Why are you allowing this? My door, like, what the fuck's happening?
Honestly, yeah, because you never hear his mom say, "Hey, don't scare the shit out of him," or anything.
No, you're just there.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. But that next morning at school, Martin stands against the wall in the nurse's office, appearing rather unwell and unrested. The nurse, played by Elizabeth Pan, attempts to call Sophie, but when she doesn't pick up the phone, the nurse leans down to Martin's level, wondering if there's someone else she can call to pick him up. We then cut to Rebecca and Brett entering the front office of the school together, and as the pair round the corner, Brett comments that it's just that he didn't know that Rebecca had a brother.
8 months?
Yeah.
And she has a picture of her brother up on the shelf, and she never mentioned it. You never asked. Like,
she put that up yesterday.
Yeah. Clearly.
I don't know.
After he left.
Rebecca just responds with a low, "Yeah." But the pair are met by Emma, played by Andy Osho, who greets Rebecca by name, introducing herself and revealing that she's with Child Services. She explains to Rebecca that she was assigned to Martin after her father died, but Rebecca sharply corrects Emma. Step father. Emma asks, "Excuse me?"
Step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Like it's beyond common.
Yeah.
Meaning he's married to my mother. She's like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I've never heard that in my life.
So now you need to explain it.
Rebecca elaborates further that Paul was her stepfather and that her biological father ran off when she was 10 and he never came back. But Emma redirects the conversation back to Martin, asking how he is whenever he's at home and wondering if he's getting proper sleep. Rebecca answers that she doesn't know because she doesn't live there. Emma inquires if it's only their mother living in the house with Martin now, and learning that this is the case, she asks how Sophie is holding up.
Does she not know that as his caseworker?
Yeah.
He's been dead long enough to have an obituary framed, so you would think that she would have some knowledge of the house.
Well, even the family history and like extended family, like that's his sibling.
And she's like,
Yep.
Rebecca, right? So she knows who she is.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know anything about you.
Yeah. I've only heard your name in passing.
And I'm unfamiliar with this term, step.
Somewhat irritated, Rebecca replies that Sophie is taking her antidepressants if that's what Emma is asking. But Emma continues, scribbling notes onto a pad as she asks how bad Sophie's depression has gotten. Rebecca offers a passive and perturbed apology before asking if Martin is okay, suggesting that Emma is grilling her like he has a black eye or something. Emma reveals that Martin fell asleep in homeroom this morning for the 3rd time in the past week.
Maybe homeroom is boring as fuck.
Yeah. Maybe talk to the
Take it
teacher.
up with the
Like, actually, all the kids are falling asleep.
The teacher's Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, isn't that just for like catching up on work?
Yeah,
caught up,
I'm
he's
caught
fine.
up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to dip out.
Catch up on some Z's.
Yeah.
But Rebecca just sighs, excusing herself to enter the nurse's office. This is where I don't understand why Rebecca is treating Emma like she's the bad guy.
Yeah.
No.
There's literally no reason for her to be so, like, fucking outright rude.
Yeah.
It's weird.
She sounds concerned. That's
Yeah.
it.
And even when Emma is interacting with Martin, she's like, good loaded. Like, she's like rolling her eyes at you.
Doing her job.
Like, I don't understand.
But Martin sits inside the office with his book bag, surprised to see that his sister actually showed up. Rebecca is flanked by Brett and Emma, the social worker standing close to the siblings with her arms crossed somewhat judgmentally. But Rebecca just continues talking to Martin as if Emma isn't there, asking her little brother where their mother is. When Martin's only answer is a sigh and a shrug, Emma leans down closer to his level, acknowledging that she knows Martin and his mother are going through a lot and that it's harder for him because he can't talk to his mother about it. But she says that if he ever wants to talk about it, she's here for him. Rebecca can't seem to hide her annoyance, and Martin even recoils a bit before looking up at his sister as he states certainly, "This is why you left, isn't it?" And again, Emma could not be more compassionate and caring, but Martin's like, "Get the fuck away from me." Like, I don't understand the reaction to this woman doing her job and being so kind.
Yeah, and she is.
Yeah, and if he's experiencing this at home, it is another adult trying to help you. Why are you like, no, it's okay, I like it.
Like,
And the thing with, he was like, I didn't even think you would show up. And you do have an adult here that's like, look, if you want to talk about anything, I'm here.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you who neglected me. It's just very strange.
It is.
I mean, it's something that I guess only Rebecca can relate to. Because what's he going to tell him about what he saw last night?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get it, but she is asking him if he needs help. At least be like, look, I want to sleep. Can I sleep here?
Yeah.
True, yeah.
Rebecca denies that this is why she left and suggests that her deal was a lot more complicated. But she tells Martin to come with her and that she'll get him home. With great concern, Martin seeks clarification. Your home or Mom's? Rebecca seems taken aback, simply replying that she's taking Martin to where he lives. The boy then sits back defeated, but Rebecca reaches a reassuring arm to his shoulder, promising him that he's going to be okay. And with that, Martin gathers his backpack, Rebecca leading him out of the room. She turns to Emma, assuring her that Martin will be fine, and Emma lets her know that they'll be in touch. Rebecca then mutters a very sarcastic, "Uh-huh," as she exits the nurse's office with her brother and Brett trailing behind them. But Brett drives Rebecca and Martin back to Sophie's house, passing through the open gate and shrubbery to park beneath the large stone awning adjacent to the property's giant porch.
I'm like, I might be able to put up with the shadow creature for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that night?
I'm very adaptive.
Yeah.
I'll learn to live with her. It's fine.
That place was huge.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
Something wild about this house that I didn't catch until a later scene in the film.
Mm-hmm.
This is absolutely 100% the same house that Mike Flanagan used for Ouija Origin of Evil.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
So,
that movie was so good. I haven't seen it in forever.
Yeah.
me neither. We got to get through the bad one to get to the good one.
Yeah. It'll be worth it.
Brett looks around, seemingly and understandably impressed as he announces, "And here we are." But Martin appears plastered to his seat in the back of the vehicle, pleading with Rebecca to just let him stay at her place tonight. Brett snarks. Good luck with that one, buddy. It's like, that's not the time.
Yeah. No.
That's funny, though.
It is, but calm down.
Well, I bet he's like, last night I couldn't leave a sock over here. Now I'm meeting the brother. I'm going to the school. I'm going to the mom's house. It's like, I'm moving up in the world.
Hey. Rebecca furrows her brow in disbelief that Brett would say such a thing, but she just returns to her brother, telling him that she doesn't think he would like it there, considering that she has all these weird and kind of scary posters on the wall. It's like, there's a shadow ghoul at our house.
Literally.
Yeah, no
He's like, do you know what I've been through? If they stay in the posters, it's a fucking step up from what I'm living.
Shit.
But all Martin really wants is to be able to get a good night's sleep. Rebecca offers that they can talk about it later, which seems to be enough to get him out of the car. As they exit, Brett asks Rebecca if she has any tips on interacting with her mother, but he is promptly told that he is not coming inside.
He tried it.
Yeah.
A dismayed Brett asks why not, and Rebecca answers simply, because she's crazy. The siblings ascend the porch together, leaving Brett behind, with Rebecca comforting Martin, assuring him that their mother just gets like this sometimes, but it'll be all right. She asks if Sophie has been sociable with anyone else lately, and Martin shares that someone keeps coming over. Rebecca is relieved to hear this until Martin reveals who this friend is. Diana. Rebecca stops dead in her tracks, turning to face her brother and demanding to know what he just said. The score sizzles tensely as Martin repeats what he mentioned before. Her name is Diana. We watch the pair through the window, the drapes pulled out of the way as Rebecca kneels in front of Martin, clutching his shoulders and confiding in him that she knows exactly what he's going through because their mom did the same thing to her when her dad left. She adds that she had really bad dreams about Diana, but promises Martin that that's all they are because Diana isn't real.
Hold on for a second, though.
Okay.
Okay, so we're experiencing the same dream. Same, looks the same haunting or same dream haunting or whatever. Look, you know what I mean?
If you will.
Yeah, everything's exactly the same dream. It's real. We're not having the same fucking dream.
No, mom just has this super scary friend.
Yeah, I guess.
that inspires a very specific kind of nightmare.
And I think that's the thing that kind of bothers me is because after hearing this, it does, if you continue through the narrative, that is, I guess, what Rebecca still thinks.
Yeah.
Because there are reactions later that do not make sense if she's starting to clock it right now.
Right.
Yeah, I
Because what I thought at first, I thought she was just telling Martin this to comfort him because she knows what the fuck Diana is.
right, yeah.
But later she's like, what is this?
No, yeah, it was that.
So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
But as soon as she says this, the front door swings open, revealing Sophie standing in the foyer to greet them. She offers a stilted and surprised hello to her daughter as Martin just breezes past her to head inside. Sophie asks what he's doing home so early, and Martin just continues onward into the dark house, answering that Rebecca will tell her what happened. And again, the whole thing is we've learned the dark is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going alone without any guidance or supervision, and Diana's just like waiting to kick his ass on there or whatever. I don't understand. I would think that he would be staying with Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Rebecca lets herself inside as she tells her mother that Martin hasn't been sleeping. Sophie follows her, asking who could blame him. Paul was everything to them. She then gestures to Rebecca and corrects herself. Nearly everything. Rebecca asks her mother if she's seeing a therapist, but Sophie turns away, answering somewhat irritatedly that she isn't going to go to some stranger to talk about her problems. She's gone through that before, which Rebecca remembers. But as Sophie sifts through a laundry basket on the couch, glancing around the room nervously as she does, Rebecca wonders how long she's been off of her medicine. Sophie is surprised by this line of questioning, but Rebecca doesn't budge. Upstairs, however, Martin races for his sunlit bedroom, gathering clothes from his dresser and stuffing it all into his backpack. But we linger out in the hall, where just next to Martin's bedroom, the glass door of an office creaks open all on its own, getting his attention. As he exits his room with his bag slung over his shoulder, Martin notices the door resting ajar, and he leans closer to the crack to peer inside. But just as he does, the frightful silhouette of Diana materializes out of nowhere, slamming the door in Martin's face, causing him to run away, with the camera still resting on the glass window of the door, where Diana seems to evaporate.
Someone's in here.
Yeah.
No, but this is a lot, dude.
Yeah.
And Rebecca's right downstairs. And he's just like, well, gotta finish getting my shit.
And if you're Diana, this is not how you make friends.
No, not at all.
And I think, again, this thing, like Nay was saying earlier, with things just happening too fast.
Right.
The next scene, he's like, well, we're going to get out of here.
No, it's...
I'd be like, come right out. And I'm like, no. Dude.
Like, she is right there.
She was beating on the door.
Yeah.
Also, though, what fucking bills are you paying to be beating on these doors?
Yeah, don't do that.
Fucking with the lights. Like, no.
And you said you're not trying to replace my father, but you are moving into his office?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But downstairs, things have reached another level. Sophie shouting at Rebecca, "Do you think I wanted any of this to happen to me?" But Rebecca is less concerned about Sophie and more about Martin, wondering if her mother has thought about him at all. Sophie responds with disbelief that Rebecca is really playing the bad mother card with her. Rebecca, of all people. As Rebecca saunters over to her mother in a very odd bit of blocking that is not fitting the moment.
Yeah.
It's almost like, it's like 50% of Axl Rose.
Yeah.
Sophie asks if she knows what it's like to raise Martin without a father. Taking a somber seat on the sofa, Sophie adds regretfully, "Look how you turned out." Tears filling her eyes, Rebecca kneels in front of her mother, clutching her hand and warning, "I'm going to give you a few days, and until you stop being completely manic, I'm going to have Martin staying with me." Sophie shakes her head as she begins to cry, refusing this, but Rebecca asserts that this is what's going to happen, and she tells her to call her when she's feeling better. Rebecca rises to her feet just as Sophie leaves her seat on the couch, the sister calling out for her brother to pack his bags, but Martin is already rounding the corner with his belongings, ready to go. As the siblings head for the front door, Sophie follows after them, begging Martin not to go and breaking down into sobs as she accuses Rebecca of planning all of this, which she rightfully denies.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
My step ghost hates me.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to be here.
That wasn't Rebecca's fault.
No.
But Sophie follows her children out onto the porch, Martin calling out to his mother that he'll be back as soon as he can, and reminding her to take her vitamins. I thought that was very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brett watches curiously from the driver's seat, asking what's going on, as Sophie crumbles into tears on the porch. but Rebecca just climbs into the passenger seat, answering simply that they're going home. Brett reverses out of the driveway with Martin rolling down his window, apologizing to his mother as Sophie just holds her head in her hands and the car drives away. But when they arrive at Rebecca's apartment, she shows Martin to his temporary bedroom, but he freezes at the sight of the posters on the wall that she warned him about. Something very cool I did want to mention, there is a poster for Ghost on the wall.
Okay.
Oh.
And that's cool enough just because I love Ghost.
Yeah.
But something really cool is David Sandberg, as we said, is Swedish, and so is Ghost.
Oh, all right.
But noticing Martin's reaction to the posters, Rebecca suggests that he could sleep on the couch instead. But Martin just tosses his bag onto the bed, assuring her that this is fine. It is funny that she's like, the posters stay.
Yeah, oh, no, yeah.
That can't be moved.
You're temporary.
Yeah.
They're not.
But as Martin retrieves a flashlight from his bag, switching it on and off to test it, Rebecca exits into the living room with an awkward, okay, cool. Overwhelmed and running her fingers through her hair, she finds Brett standing there, who asks accusatorily, "This your idea? Bringing the kid here?" Rebecca replies that it obviously was, noting that Martin wasn't safe at home. But Brett supposes that she could have just called the lady at the school. That's what CPS is for. Rebecca reminds Brett that Martin is her brother, but Brett counters that Sophie is his mother. Rebecca asks, "So?" This is when Brett takes a step closer, which is very appropriate because he's absolutely overstepping.
Literally.
Yeah.
But he inquires, "Are you doing this to help him or to hurt her?" These words sting Rebecca, who stands silent for a moment before promptly kicking Brett out of her apartment.
I just don't feel like he knows enough of anything to kind of be broaching this.
Yeah, it felt very odd because to me, again, you know very little. You've been dating for 8 months, but like you're saying, you do know very little of her family.
You didn't even know she had a brother until today.
Yeah, and I know you weren't inside, but my little brother doesn't seem like he doesn't want to go with me. He seems like he's very happy to be with me. And why would I send my sibling somewhere else when I can take care of them?
Mm-hmm.
Like I can. You're young enough to where I can take care of you. You're fine. It's cool. It was just very weird for him to come at her like that.
It was, I agree. I think my thing is that I was surprised where he took it. I thought what he was going to be annoyed about was the fact that he either couldn't stay or that he wasn't going to be able to like sleep with her tonight because the brother's there or something.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be very like stupid movie boyfriend thing.
Right.
So for him to come at her with that, it's like, well, at least he seems to be caring and involved, but he does not have the knowledge to be saying shit like this.
Right.
But it was oddly refreshing.
No, I get it. Yeah.
But that night in the kitchen, Rebecca stands at the counter in front of an array of Christmas lights that hang from the bottom of the cabinets. Big fan of the design here.
Yeah.
But she makes her brother a sandwich, acknowledging that it's a little late for dinner, so they'll just call this a midnight snack. And no, I don't know why she's feeding him so late. It was broad daylight whenever he came home. So,
well, the adrenaline was pumping.
He's got to crash and then he's hungry.
But Rebecca keeps the crusts on the bread at Martin's request. And when he asks for the sandwich to be cut into triangles, Rebecca smiles that he's just like her because she used to love that. It's a very small thing because it's like, well, yeah, they're siblings or whatever.
Right.
But I think you can attribute it to a little bit of connectedness in the narrative of what they've both been through.
Yeah.
I know it's a small thing like a sandwich, but it's like we're the same as well in this other facet.
No, yeah. And if he's going through that, that's what he needs. He needs his sibling to be there.
Yeah.
But she sets Martin's sandwich down in front of him, along with an empty glass and a half-gallon of milk. She's like, drink it all. I don't know. It's a lot she didn't pour it for him, but
she didn't have to. The editing here, I just real quick. When she sets the gallon down in the cup, it's empty.
Mm-hmm.
She goes behind him. The glass is half full. She sits down. We get on the other side of the table. The glass is full. I don't know how it did that, but...
It was Diana.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's like, I got electricity, I got milk.
good answer.
But before Martin can tuck into his sandwich, Rebecca snags a brush to manage his unruly head of hair, which seems to be fresh from the shower. She laughs when the brush gets caught in a knot, but after brushing through it, Martin turns to face his sister with worry, asking her if their mom is crazy, does it mean that they're crazy too? Rebecca takes a breath before answering a certain no. She tussles Martin's hair as he turns to face his midnight snack with a grin. But even later that evening, we spy the exterior of the building, the beaming red neon sign for the tattoo shop pulsing on and off just outside of Rebecca's bedroom window. But we return inside to find Rebecca fast asleep in her bed. A small scratching sound is heard when the room dips to full darkness, completely disappearing when the bright red light shines into the room, cast across Rebecca's restful body.
What I will say is that it is very clever to name a Giallo film Lights Out.
Oh, because of the red light.
Correct.
No, it isn't.
It is clever.
It would be, but it's not. But in the dark, the sound stirs her awake, and she instinctively reaches next to her in bed. But when she finds only her brother's vacancy, she calls out to him. As she sits up in bed, she seems to notice something. A figure crouched in the doorway, digging feverishly into the hardwood floor.
Esther?
You say that, but it's not much better.
I know.
Rebecca asks curiously, thinking the figure to be Martin. Hey, what are you doing down there?
You don't know your brother?
No.
Your 10-year-old brother?
Right.
How old are you?
It was now a full-sized ghoul.
Clawing at the...
Yeah. She's like, hey, you're fucking up my deposit. But when she reaches for the bedside lamp, it doesn't switch on. She then instructs Martin that he'll have to turn on the light switch.
When you finish scratching.
Yeah. When you're done marking your territory. But before she can finish her sentence, the beaming red neon light fades back in, and the figure that was once in the doorway suddenly disappears. Rebecca's eyes widen with fear as she slowly creeps out of her bed, watching as the red light dims once again and the silhouette reappears, its hair hanging wild and dingy above its sharp fingers, which scratch incessantly at the wood. Rebecca's eyes remain fixed on it as it evaporates in the red light, only to return once again in the dark. Rebecca reaches the floor, staring straight at the figure, who finally takes notice of her, the bones of its neck cracking as it turns sharply to face Rebecca. It disappears once again as the neon sign pulses on, which inspires a gasp from Rebecca. But when the room goes dark once again, the figure stands straight up with a roar, charging right for Rebecca, who cowers from its rapid encroachment. But before it can reach her, the red neon sign, which seems to be on a much quicker cycle now.
Yeah.
It's trying to help her out, man.
It's like, hey, go run for your life. It switches back on, and the figure loses its footing and vanishes within the bright light cast through the window. Finally recognizing what's going on and realizing that this is her only chance, Rebecca races for the light switch on the opposite wall, switching it on before the room can dip to darkness once again. So this sequence is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
It did remind me a lot of a sequence in Dead Silence.
Okay.
If you remember whenever he's in the hotel room with the puppet and the drapes.
Oh, yeah.
But it did not surprise me to learn after thinking that this sequence was partially designed by James Wan.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
It's got his flavor.
Yeah.
I was wondering where Martin was during this.
We'll learn, and it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay.
It's honestly way more scary to do what he's doing. But all right. But the camera tilts around Rebecca as she stands shaken in the doorway, and she finally retires to the bathroom, her mascara running in streaks down her cheeks as she switches on the light and catches her breath in front of the mirror. But she's startled when she hears movement emanating from behind the drawn shower curtain at the other side of the room. She creeps over cautiously, a low rumble rising in the score as she reaches for the fabric of the divider, ripping it open to reveal Martin, resting beneath a blanket at the bottom of the bathtub, his flashlight switched on and pointed at his face.
You slept through all that?
Apparently.
He's exhausted.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is
Okay,
true.
all right. Take a nap.
I will say I don't understand, like, whenever it was Darkness Falls, like, staying in the light was what was most important.
Right.
I don't know that that's exactly helpful completely.
Yeah.
Here, because I think, like, the rules of that aspect are not very clearly defined.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, because you are in the tub. If there's no light from above you, you're still...
Yeah, I mean, it's literally only his face. Like, he's got a lot more of his body for her to slash or whatever. So I don't know.
Whatever she's here to do.
Yeah. But Rebecca sits at the edge of the tub, gently caressing her brother's shoulder as she thoughtfully peers back into her apartment through the bathroom door. But the next morning, there's a knock at Rebecca's door, and she opens it to find Emma standing there. Before Rebecca can even greet her, the social worker asks, "Did you take Martin?" Rebecca lets out a rather telling, what?
No.
But Martin, not knowing the drill, calls out to his sister, asking who's at the door. Emma lets herself inside, scolding Rebecca that she can't do this, as Rebecca just rolls her eyes and closes the door behind her. The look that I saw from Rebecca when she was sitting at the edge of the tub, I thought that was her realizing that she wasn't ready or fit or whatever to take care of Martin.
Okay.
So I thought that she called Emma, like Brett suggested.
Right.
But then Emma shows up and she's like, I don't know who Martin is, actually. So you've got the wrong house, ma'am. So I don't know. It just doesn't work really for me.
Yeah.
But Rebecca tells Emma that Sophie is unstable and that her house is not a safe environment for Martin. Emma, who sits on the couch parked next to a bong on the side table, learns that Martin is in the other room getting dressed for school. She tells Rebecca that she needs to think about what she wants to do, which Rebecca says that she already did by bringing him here. But Emma isn't talking about some knee-jerk reaction. And as she rises from the couch, shaking her head, she announces that Martin can't stay here. She reveals that she's actually here because Sophie called her, and Rebecca snarks in surprise to learn that Child Services takes orders from nut jobs now.
All right.
Yeah.
Yay. Emma just counters that she stopped by their home in person to make sure Sophie was lucid, and she was. But she tells Rebecca that this isn't how it works anyway. Sophie is Martin's birth mother, his legal guardian, and to get Martin from her custody would require Rebecca to file charges against her and take her to court. She adds that it's a long, painful process, and that's only the first half. In order to maintain guardianship of Martin, Rebecca would have to prove herself and her home as a suitable surrogate. Emma sums it up, recounting that this is two major choices for Rebecca to make: declaring war on her mother and transforming herself into a responsible guardian for Martin. Pensive piano plays in the score as Emma asks if Rebecca is really ready to do that. Rebecca immediately declares that she can be a responsible guardian, but the surrounding artworks and drug paraphernalia catch Emma's eye as she begs to differ.
Yeah, nobody who listens to metal can raise a child.
Yeah. Or smoke weed.
Smoke weed as well. Well, I kind of get the bong just being out on the table.
Yeah, be a little more responsible.
It's not
It's like, well, it needs to be there all the time. We do use it frequently.
Not taking down the posters, not moving the bong. But I'm like, Martin clearly is not doing well at home.
No.
And so it is odd to me that Emma is not more supportive of Rebecca at least being there to help
Yeah.
because Martin slept last night
Mm-hmm.
and he hasn't been. And that's why she intervened. So it's just odd that she's like, no, that's his mom and you fuck off and you're not fit. And it was just odd.
It is for me, it was the war on your mom. It's like, look, I do understand we're going to have to do legal stuff and whatever, but I'm thinking about his safety and his well-being. I'm not trying to be an asshole to my mom to be an asshole.
No, it's not just to do it.
Yeah. So that was a little weird, the wording of it.
And of course, I understand that it would be an emotionally difficult decision.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you're saying, it's all for what's best for the kid.
Yeah.
But we cut abruptly to Emma leading Martin out of Rebecca's apartment by his hand. But he turns calmly to face his sister, who still stands in the doorway, assuring her that it's okay. At least he got some sleep. He promises that he'll do better tonight.
We're not going to ask what the hell that means.
No.
Yeah.
Emma's like, come along, Bort. I think that's another issue is what Rebecca saw last night.
Yeah.
I feel like the next few scenes kind of carry along as if she didn't see what she saw there.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why it feels like this theme of like giving us too much too early almost, like excluding the opening. I feel like Rebecca should not have experienced this yet with the kind of research journey that she goes on.
Yeah.
You know, at the very least, it should be like, oh, that wasn't a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I thought my whole childhood that it was a dream, it's not. It just happened to me right now.
Yeah.
And now clearly it's happening to my brother. But we continue on like this never happened.
And wouldn't you be a little more emphatic to Emma after what you saw?
Yeah.
But also it's like, well, I can't protect him either. If she can come here.
Yeah, but I mean, at least I'm not having conversations with the fucking
True. There's no collusion in that.
No. So you're going to have to take both of us.
Yeah.
You know, mom's already shown she's not going to do anything.
True. But I mean, at the same time, it's not like Sophie's like, fly, my pretties.
Yeah, no.
Like,
She's not. No.
but at the same time, it's like, goddamn, you are kind of not aiding and abetting, but
No.
you are turning a blind eye.
Yeah.
But an emotional Rebecca returns to her apartment, and after she collects herself, she snags some laundry from the floor to clean the place up a bit. But in the midst of her chore, she notices something scrawled into the wooden floor, just beneath the rug in the living room. She traces the only letter that pokes out from beneath it with her index finger. D. It's Dracula. If we remember how he signs his.
How he signs his letters.
But fear filling her face, Rebecca lifts the rug to reveal the name, Diana, carved roughly into the floorboards, with the rough etching of a stick figure scrawled right next to it. Rebecca recoils in a gasp, darkness suddenly surrounding her as we pan through it to reach deep within her memory, re-emerging in her childhood bedroom, where young Rebecca, played by Amia Miller, sits at her desk, coloring a picture. So once again, these transitions are fantastic.
Yes.
I also really liked it because as it goes all dark, you hear Diana scratching on the ground, but it matches to young Rebecca coloring in the picture.
Yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is another thing with what we're about to see where you really need to see the name Diana. Like that could have been anybody last night.
It's like, fuck.
But you already had Martin being like, it's Diana who's around.
Yeah.
So again, I would feel like maybe if Martin didn't know her name was Diana.
Right.
And he's just like, saying that there's like some imaginary thing or like a monster.
Right.
And you're like, oh, well, he's a kid, I don't know. There's just all of these things do not line up in a way that makes sense.
They're giving us too many discoveries.
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
But we peer over young Rebecca's shoulder to see a drawing of her family, each member clearly labeled next to their stick-figured counterpart. Dad, Mom, me. But a scraping sound suddenly resonates from just behind Rebecca, capturing her attention. And when she turns to face it, though, there's nothing there. Rebecca returns to her drawing, only to discover that the paper in front of her has been snatched away by unseen hands.
I was like, ain't no fucking way.
No.
Yeah.
And again, that drawing is right under the beam of light.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's really bad for your eyes. Is this sinister? We're like, look, that light bill, I get it.
Yeah.
Use a small lamp every Get a lantern.
But Rebecca glances over to her opened closet, peering into the darkness when she hears a repetitive scratching sound leaking out. She creeps her way over, pushing the door open cautiously, but when the sound still continues, Rebecca reaches for the light switch, quickly turning it on, and at the center of her closet, her sketchbook floats in mid-air. Rebecca gasps as it clatters to the floor, but she kneels down to discover that her sketch has been corrected. The drawing of her father now rests beneath an abyss of black ink, and drawn between Sophie and Rebecca now stands a rough stick figure labeled in all capital letters, Diana.
Girl, you didn't need to do all that.
You are trying to replace my dad,
Yeah,
aren't
see?
you?
From like 20 years ago. And I think the funny thing about it is it's like, well, at least you didn't get rid of me. Like, I mean, I'm still a
I
part
can
of the
be in it,
family.
yeah.
But there were a lot of drawing sounds for what we get.
Too much scraping.
Yeah, she's not an artist. If there is a note for Diana, it is too much scraping.
Yeah.
But we return to Rebecca in the present day, clearly recognizing the illustration scratched into her floor. She rises to her feet, quickly vacating her apartment. And this is where I was like, how did you not know?
Yeah.
It took this flashback?
She's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, she needed to see it.
Yes. But we find Rebecca pacing the street outside of her apartment, where Brett suddenly pulls up and parks at the curb. He steps out of the car, telling Rebecca that he got her text and asking what's going on. But when she asks him to take her to see Sophie, Brett responds incredulously, asking if she's really going to do this whole thing again. Rebecca denies this, assuring Brett that she'll tell him all about it in the car, but when Brett stands with his back to the passenger side door, blocking her way in, Rebecca asks what he's doing. Brett insists that they should talk about what happened last night, and when Rebecca seems puzzled by this, he reminds her that she kicked him out for being honest with her. Rebecca stutters before promptly apologizing to Brett, caressing his face and confessing that she was using Martin to get back at her mother, seemingly sarcastically thanking Brett for pointing that out before reaching again for the handle of the passenger door. Brett suggests that she should be apologizing to Martin, and Rebecca answers this request with 2 kisses on Brett's lips. He smiles. Not like that, but you should apologize to the kid. He steps out of the way for Rebecca to sit down inside of the car, Rebecca far more interested in finding out more about Diana, revealing to Brett that the bitch is real. And Brett obviously has no idea who she's talking about.
No, yeah.
But again, I think this is the thing, is it's like, is she saying this just to get in the car?
That's how I took it.
About Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I took it too. She's like, yeah, whatever. Let's go.
Yeah, I need a ride.
Yeah.
But they arrive at Sophie's house, Rebecca ringing the doorbell incessantly as Brett peers into a window just next to it. When Sophie doesn't answer the door, Rebecca reaches into a potted plant nearby, discovering a hollow stone and retrieving a spare key from it.
Another one?
I know!
These were hot, huh?
I guess. It's not a secret anymore.
No.
But she unlocks the door, letting herself and Brett inside. Brett asks her what they're looking for, and Rebecca explains that they're looking for her mom, and if he sees her, they hit the back door. Brett understands the assignment.
He doesn't know where the back door is.
No,
Yeah.
that's true. I've never been in this house before.
But you got it, boss.
But Rebecca climbs the stairs to the second floor, her long shadow cast against the wall in the lowly lit hall as she creeps over to Martin's bedroom. But on the way, a noise coming from her stepfather's office catches her attention, prompting a bit of a detour. As she investigates the space, she discovers the wire of the lamp on her father's desk has been severed completely, and she finds a makeshift sleeping space at the corner of the room, a blanket and a pillow resting on the hardwood floor. I don't know if this is supposed to be where Paul is sleeping or where Diana is sleeping.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was also very confused at who's staying here.
My note was, is this where Martin's been?
Or Sophie? It's just like,
It is weird.
Is Brett sleeping?
Yeah, who the fuck?
I don't know.
Because this is their home.
Yeah.
Sophie would have a room. Martin has his own room.
And
Yeah.
we see Rebecca's room in just a second.
Yeah.
So there's a whole other room that's not being used.
Look at this place. There's a
Yeah.
lot of rooms
Yeah,
that
there's
are
rooms. There's
used.
rooms.
But just above the blankets, pinned to the wall next to a row of filing cabinets, rests a photograph. Rebecca retrieves it, and we see that it's a picture of a teenage Sophie, played by Emily Allen Lind, standing next to another teenager dressed all in black, shrouded beneath the shadow of her umbrella. This is teenage Diana, played by Ava Cantrell.
This was very funny to me to have this hard evidence of my ghost or whoever's haunting me or whatever this is
Right.
as a person and young. I don't know if I've ever dealt with that.
No, it honestly, it pissed me off a little bit because this isn't something that she finds. It's literally pinned to the wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's why I'm like, is this Diana's bedroom now?
I think it has to be Paul doing the research.
So it's just been this way. They just left it
I
alone.
don't know. Well, Diana won't let anybody in there,
Okay.
but except for Rebecca right now.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's also true.
I don't know.
I did want to say very quickly, Emily Allen Lind, very small role in this film,
Mm-hmm.
but you probably remember her as Snakebite Andy from Dr. Sleep.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, all right.
But we get confirmation of who the girls are when Rebecca turns the photo over, and written thinly in pencil on the back is Sophie and Diana, Mulberry Hill, California.
Oh.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know who else this could have been.
No.
I feel like we don't need it.
No.
But searching through boxes she finds in her stepfather's office, Rebecca also finds an old tape recorder, switching it on. On the recording, an uncredited doctor clears his throat, recounting, Patient 283, admitted October 6th, 1984. The patient suffers from a unique skin disorder that manifests itself in extreme sensitivity to light. Rebecca sits, cycling through photographs, one of a group of teenage test subjects all standing in a circle in their underwear, wearing small goggles and surrounded by bright beaming lights. The doctor continues that the patient's stay here has been very problematic, with a history of violence. We see this history through an X-ray discovered by Rebecca of the fractured bones of another patient's arm, the X-ray labeled, Attacked by Patient, Diana Walters. Rebecca peruses another picture, this one a tight shot of a patient's gnarled arm, once again labeled, Attacked by Patient, Diana Walters. But the doctor reveals that this patient has become obsessed with one of the patients in the heliotherapy ward, a young girl named Sophie. This immediately captures Rebecca's attention, and she listens as Diana is brought into the doctor's office, kept in her restraints at the doctor's request. The doctor greets her, and Diana scowls at him in a gravelly voice. Keep the lights out. The doctor shares that he's heard Diana has been very bad again, and he orders her to stay away from Sophie. But Diana rasps that Sophie is her friend, which prompts the doctor to ask, then why did you hurt her? Diana answers that she did it because Sophie was getting better. The tape cycles over to another session, the doctor labeling it as Session 13. Accompanied by Diana's pained groans, he explains that the patient's skin condition is worsening and that they're preparing an experimental, but he interrupts himself to shout an order to his staff, "Hold her down!" Diana begs them to stop as the doctor dials in a full dosage of 1,200 watts. Rebecca then discovers an article within the stack of papers titled, "The Disappearing Woman. New Light Therapy Claims Life of Patient at Mulberry Hill." As the machine is turned up, Rebecca discovers photographs of the chair that Diana was strapped to, and we hear Diana screaming in pain before these screams give way to ear-splitting shrieks, the doctor shouting for his staff to shut off the machine, now! But Rebecca's eyes widen when she finds a photo of the chair after this treatment. A shadow in the shape of a person burned into the cushion where Diana once sat. The doctor grumbles, "Jesus Christ," as he shuts off the recording.
So, everyone knows I love a good research scene.
Of course.
Very, very much. I feel like they were really laying it all out for us in multiple ways.
Mm-hmm.
And while I am, I guess, grateful and intrigued to learn what happened to old Dirty Diana, I don't know that this gels with the rest of what we see and what we have seen.
Yeah, I was also a little confused about what was going on here. Did it make her invisible?
This sounds more like the origin story of Dr. Manhattan than...
Right.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No, but literally. Because I think that, I don't know, it almost seemed like it was an allegory for her depression or for any mental illness or any ailment that she's experiencing.
Yes.
That's almost what Diana felt like. And so to learn that she was a human being is a little odd for me. Is it just me?
No, that's what I'm saying. Having the picture of her being young, and it's like, oh, you were a person, like what the? But now you have these powers as a ghost, and then you're what? You're a shadow.
Like
or
it really threw me off.
I will tell you through my research, Sandberg's original treatment, Diana was not a ghost.
Okay.
It was far more allegorical, and the way that he described it kind of put me in the mind of the Babadook.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
The way that he was making it like it was more this like representation.
Right.
But when James Wan gets on board, he suggests making Diana a fully fledged ghost because he said that adding this layer will give more of a personal touch to Sophie's story.
Okay.
Which I understand, but I think it makes the film less effective that way.
I agree because I think that we're still telling the story as though she is this allegorical device.
Right.
But then throwing this in as well. So like they don't fit because they never fit. So that makes sense.
Okay. See, I didn't get that out of this at all. I'm going to be honest. I took everything this movie was telling me 4 or 5 times at face value.
No,
Whatever,
that's what I'm saying.
like,
it felt a certain way, and then they're like, "No, dummy, she was a kid."
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
"Oh,
No,
never
that's
mind."
what I'm saying. I always just was the ghost.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I didn't connect it to like the Babadook, the way that plays out and all that. I'm just watching this, and I think maybe if I would have thought about it that way, it probably would have made it a little better watch.
Right.
Not that it was a bad watch, but you know what I mean? I'm just sitting here like, well, Diana's doing what now? Okay, and you're who? You can do that?
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm just going off of what you're telling me.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you kind of switch it midstream.
Yeah.
In the writing process. And maybe some things don't gel like they should because you're adding ideas that never were meant to fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's the thing is like literally seeing, and I think that she must have been like supernatural the whole time because there's no reason that a light should dissolve a human.
Yeah. No.
There was already something.
Yeah.
They're like, look, she has an allergy. It's like,
I don't think so. I think she
Hold
was
on. Yeah.
I'm
a
allergic
ghoul
to
the whole
nickel.
time.
I don't think it's going to do that to me.
No. But a stern scratching sound startles Rebecca, who glances out of the office door and into the hall. But downstairs, an impatient Brett sits at the edge of the dining room table, crossing over to a large window at the other side of the room to open the drapes. Sunlight pours in all around him, but at a distance stands Diana, her head tilted in seeming fascination as she stares at an oblivious Brett. But upstairs, Rebecca enters her old bedroom, which appears exactly as she left it when she moved out of the house. She looks around, reaching for a lamp at the top of her dresser, but failing in her attempt to switch it on. She removes the lampshade to find that there isn't even a light bulb inside of it. But she peers over to her closet door, which rests ajar, revealing a small slice of darkness, just like the memory that we inhabited earlier. But glancing downward, Rebecca discovers something sticking out of the bottom drawer of her dresser. She pulls it out, recognizing the crumpled paper as the drawing that Diana ruined all those years ago. But the bedroom door suddenly slams shut, the score growing frenzied as Rebecca frantically pounds on it, screaming for Brett to help her as the lock clicks closed. Diana's voice rasps from nearby. "Stay away, Becca. I won't be sent away again."
What?
Becca.
We're on nicknames. So it's like that. I'm sorry, dude. Becca can't be said scarily. It just can't.
That's
just
crazy. That's how you're going to threaten me?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's like we are closer than it seems.
Yeah.
But Rebecca's eyes search around fearfully until suddenly her necklace lifts from her chest and she is pulled off of her feet by Diana, strangled by the sinister shadow which stands perched at the wall just above her bedroom door. Rebecca struggles against her tormentor, her feet kicking against the air as she screams, but she's finally rescued by a returning Brett who pushes the door open, letting the light in, Diana unhanding Rebecca and leaving her tumbling to the floor. Brett collects her as she catches her breath, telling her that Sophie is here and they need to leave. The pair race down the stairs at the back door, Brett carrying a box from Paul's office and trying his damnedest to get Rebecca to talk to him and tell him what happened.
You know when you walked in the room and I was midair?
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
That
happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we acting like we didn't fucking see it? Like,
You opened the door, dude.
suspended in midair.
He's like, we gotta go. I don't know what you're doing. But Rebecca herself struggles to make sense of it all, realizing only that she was attacked, but she can't explain who or what did it. Brett then asks what the box he's carrying is for, and Rebecca answers simply that it's proof.
It's proof of what? That you don't know what just attacked you?
I'm mad.
Yeah.
Because how the fuck was it not Diana? Like,
Yeah.
who or what else could it have been?
You couldn't have been told in more ways. And she literally like hissed at you and threatened you by name.
Yeah.
You saw pictures, you heard recordings, you saw documents.
And
You found the picture?
You did.
Yeah.
She attacked you last night.
Yes.
Tried
And
to.
Yeah.
clawed her name into your
Yeah. With
Yeah.
a stick figure just to jog your memory.
Yeah. Like you said, we're not getting that deposit back.
No, we're not.
No.
This is almost like Tucker and Dale level obliviousness.
Yeah. But returning home from the grocery store are Sophie and Martin. And as the pair ascends the driveway from around the gate, Sophie tells her son that it's okay if he wants to talk about Rebecca to her. And Martin just offers that Rebecca is fine, switching topics to ask his mom if she's taken her vitamins.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I was wondering how Brett knew that they were there when they weren't even like in eyesight of the house.
I think they
That's
walked
right.
home from the store. He's like, we got Life 360.
They're coming real close, dude.
But yeah, because they don't even have a car.
No.
Sophie shares that she's been feeling better, but she stops her son before they reach the porch, acknowledging that she's been a little distant lately, but she suggests that they fix that with a popcorn and movie night tonight. Martin is excited to hear it, and Sophie is certain that a little personal time is just what they need. All three of them.
God damn it.
Stop trying to make fetch happen, Mom.
Yes.
Like, for real, dude.
We are not going to be friends.
Yeah, no.
And if we are, maybe you should be talking to her instead of me.
Yeah.
I did laugh because she's like, it should, we could have a popcorn and movie night. And sticking out of the bag very plainly is a bag of Kettle Sriracha popcorn, and it's the label clearly.
I was like, man, I'm really in the mood for that right now.
Yeah.
That's really good.
No, I'm impressionable as fuck. But Sophie climbs the steps, and Martin stops her, proposing instead that it could just be the two of them tonight. Sophie's voice shakes with uncertainty as she offers, "We'll see." She then unlocks the front door to let her and Martin inside. Later that evening, Martin sits on the couch with his mother, watching an old black and white film, a character on screen asking, "How can you see with all that light?" Love it.
Yeah.
And she's also relieved when the curtains are drawn, which is reminds me of someone.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. This boy doesn't want to watch that. Let's get him some Ninja Turtles or something.
I'm just thinking of our kids, and they'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
It was that. Because I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I try to show my kids stuff or the kids stuff, and they're just like, "What is this shit?"
Martin's like, "I'm taking my chance with the dark."
Yeah. No. Can I go to my room?
Literally.
But Sophie shares the Kettle brand sriracha popcorn with her son, asking how he's doing, and Martin assures her that he's fine, but he then checks in on her, too. Sophie insists that she's gonna be fine, reaching for her son's small hand as she confides in him that she misses his dad, noting that Paul made her feel strong and protected, adding that she thinks that she needs to feel those things sometimes. She says that Martin needs to feel those things, too, and Martin replies that he's okay, but that Rebecca is strong. This strikes a nerve with Sophie, who counters that Rebecca acts like she's strong, and she might be sometimes, but when the going got tough, she abandoned her, and she doesn't want Rebecca to do that to Martin, too.
Okay, let's not.
Yeah.
That's your child.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we're all saying a lot of things around this kid that we shouldn't be saying.
Yeah.
Even Rebecca's your child. You can be like, "She abandoned me." No, dude.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah, no shit. I'm running away from Diana. Fuck that.
Yeah, dude.
Mom, nobody likes her but you.
Martin counters that sometimes the strongest thing to do is to just face your fears. He says that that's what Emma told him anyway. Sophie agrees within a shaky breath, offering her son a hug and a kiss before excusing herself to the other room, pausing the movie before she exits. But suddenly, heavy footsteps approach the couch from behind, the lamp above Martin's head switching off. A figure rounds the corner of the couch as Martin gasps fearfully, but we see that it's Sophie, who holds her son by the shoulders, assuring him that it's all right as she takes a seat next to him. She implores Martin to trust her, sharing that she's going to tell him a story. When Martin begs to be let go, Sophie shushes him, regaling him with her tale. She tells him that it was a long time ago, in a galaxy far... No, she explains to Martin that she had a friend named Diana, who was so different, so special. Martin appears seconds away from shitting himself, peering all around the room, very nervously. But Sophie asks him to just look at her as she continues her story. She says that later, she found out that something really bad happened to Diana. But the news had it wrong, and Diana was still there. We then see Diana striking a signature pose in silhouette in the other room just behind Martin, as Sophie explains that Diana finally came back. Martin begs for his mother to let him go as Diana inches her way closer, her long fingers like claws at her side, but Sophie just pleads with Martin to listen to her. She cries that she left Diana alone for so many years. She abandoned her. But now, Diana is going to stay, so long as she keeps her head clear and Martin keeps the lights out. Martin then looks up from his seat to discover Diana, perched on the side of the couch like Spider-Man, her long black hair dangling over his face. We talk a lot about the delivery of things.
Yeah.
This is not the way to make a proper introduction.
No.
It's not. And how am I supposed to eat my sriracha kettle popcorn with that right there?
It's not going to work.
No, I can't
You're
even
ruining
enjoy the
Yeah. Although I will say any time is the right time for
No,
kettle sriracha popcorn. Martin screams, racing from the couch to the nearest lamp, frustrated when it doesn't switch on, batting the lampshade to the floor to find that the bulb has been removed.
Mom, just get rid of the lamps. Just get rid of
I know.
like get
You're
rid of them
teasing
completely.
all of us. Sophie begs her son to leave the lights off, warning him that Diana doesn't know any better. She then turns to face a furious Diana, who peers at her through her pinholed eyes before promptly backhanding the hell out of Sophie, sending her clattering to the floor and onto a pile of spilled kettle sriracha. Popcorn.
That's the real tragedy in all this. But I'm like, dude, Diana, you are not fucking helping your case, dude.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Martin rushes for the light switch on the opposite wall, turning it on and flooding the room with light as Diana disappears. Sophie sobs that Diana didn't mean it, but Martin doesn't stop to listen, heading right for the front door and running out of the house, leaving Sophie crying on the floor in a heap, begging Diana not to do this. I understand that he's a child, but we just got confirmation that she will hurt your mother.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yes.
And we're just leaving her all alone here.
I don't know what to do. I don't. I'm Martin. What am I supposed to do?
I need help,
Yeah.
Mom. But also, I'm like, you already watched Diana chase and torment your son into his bedroom.
Yeah.
Why would you, like, that's what I'm saying. That should not have happened yet.
Yes.
It shouldn't have happened yet, because why did you think this would be any different? When you're
That's
like,
true.
no, we blah blah blah, and she's like, that's who Diana is. Okay?
Yeah, that's just who she is.
Sometimes you just got to meet people where they're at. When people show you who they are, believe them. That's Diana.
But back at her apartment, Rebecca pours through the documents she discovered in Paul's office, with Brett seated behind her on the couch. He inquires, "So your mom was in a mental institution?" Rebecca confirms this, and Brett is surprised that she never talked about it before.
You didn't even know she had a brother.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even let you leave a sock here. Why would she open up about her mother's psychiatric health?
Is a great question.
Yeah.
He's like, I just can't believe this.
Yeah. But Rebecca shares that Sophie didn't talk about it either, assuming that it isn't really something that you talk about. Brett offers instead to just listen. But Brett reminds her that he doesn't even know who Diana is. Rebecca sighs, but before she can answer, the pair are interrupted by a stern knock on the front door. Rebecca sits on the floor, frozen with fear, which leaves Brett to investigate. As soon as he opens the door, he finds Martin standing alone in the hall, having run all the way here from his house. He breathes heavily, revealing that their mother is getting worse. He also snarls like Billy Idol, which is very interesting to leave in.
It is.
The snarls and the sneers from this child. His rent was due. Like,
Yeah,
he eats it up. This kid gives it everything he's got, and I really appreciate him for
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I will say, though, what he has just experienced and ran from, I think Mom is getting worse is a little bit of an understatement.
Yeah. No,
true.
yeah.
And that's not true. That's not even...
Mom is being mauled by Diana.
I was going to say, Mom got her ass kicked.
Yeah,
As we speak.
and she probably still is. He's like, well, I'm hungry.
Yeah. Triangles, please. We cut to Rebecca sitting with Martin at the dining room table, Brett on the opposite side of the room, dismayed at the slim pickings he finds in the fridge. He suggests to Rebecca that they need to go shopping, and so Rebecca tasks him with doing it right now. He exits the apartment after a pair of polite goodbyes, leaving the siblings to talk. Martin says that he knows Rebecca doesn't believe him, but he assures her that Diana is real. She touched his hair. Like she also beat the hell out of your mother.
She whooped Mom's ass.
But my hair.
She fucking touched me.
Come on, man.
And she spilled the kettle sriracha.
Most
did.
importantly,
She fell on it.
Rebecca calms her brother, confiding something in him that she says no one ever told her. She believes him. Relief washes over Martin, but Rebecca admits that she doesn't know what Diana is. Martin, however, reveals that Diana doesn't like the light. Rebecca nods in understanding, leading Martin back into the living room where photographs from Paul's files lie scattered across the floor under the light of a lamp.
There's nothing to be afraid of. Just come with me into this dimly lit room.
Yeah.
Why can't look? I'm not always a fan of the big light. Very rarely am I a fan of the big light.
Mhm.
It's big light city right now.
Yeah.
Why are we sitting in the dim glow of a lamp?
No idea. Well,
What is going on?
atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think my thing about it is, again, so we have Rebecca discovering these files in Paul's office.
Right.
She's already looked through them. We heard a tape where not only a doctor explains Diana's condition, but he kills her.
We hear it.
We heard it.
Yes, we hear it.
And we have an article where it's literally like, this is something very well known.
Yeah.
The disappearing woman.
Yeah.
She's even got a name.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And then we have Sophie telling the story again to Martin in the living room.
Right.
And then we have it again right now that she's about to tell. It's just, this is why the film feels so long.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say that's the pacing issue right there. Because we're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah. It does feel like, well, did I go backwards? Because we already know that.
Yeah, it's like getting the exposition 4 times.
Yeah.
And then again, with him being like, I know she doesn't like the dark. It's like, yeah, Rebecca saw that last night whenever the neon sign was making her disappear.
Right.
It's also funny to me that Brett seems to be the only one with the car and they just sent him to get groceries instead of them going to help their mom.
That's true.
Or calling anyone to help her.
Diana could be murdering her right now, for all we know.
Shit. I didn't even
They're
think of that.
like, we need snacks, dude. We need another bag of kettle syrup.
It got spilled.
Yeah, I only had a couple kernels, which is a crime. But the siblings sit down together as Rebecca explains that Paul was doing a lot of personal research into Sophie and Diana's past, explaining that Diana was found in a basement, locked away when she was 13 years old. We flash back to this discovery, the beam of a flashlight finding the silhouette of a young Diana rocking alone on the floor, as Rebecca reveals that Diana's father had killed himself. We find Diana's father resting lifeless on a couch on the upper floor, a blood-soaked towel covering his cranium, spatter surrounding the wall behind him, and scrawled roughly right next to him in crimson are the words, "She is in my head."
Oh. So is that...
Logistically, this can't work
No.
at all because he's already dead, so how is he writing notes in his blood?
He wrote it.
This honestly,
what?
this has
That's
always
just-
been,
That's just a raspberry jam.
it's always been one of my pet peeves in like film, TV, anytime.
Yeah.
The logistics of fucking writing messages in your blood, it just does not work. And this is maybe the worst one that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It gets a pass.
I will, yes.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
Okay. All right.
But accompanied by tight shots of Diana's mottled arms, Rebecca explains that Diana had a very strange skin disorder, and there were stories about her. People used to say that she was evil, and that she could get inside people's heads and change them. So now she's Samara.
Yeah.
I'm just, you're losing me.
I will be honest. I thought the exact same thing, and I was like, I don't know that we need that.
I feel it's that for me. I feel like we're just trying to do too many things.
Yeah.
Like we've already got a backstory. We don't need a backstory in the backstory. Like it's backstoryception. It's enough. We got it. Also, Rebecca's hair looks really weird in the scene.
It does, and I wasn't going to say anything.
I'm like, that's a wig.
Yeah.
Like, is that why the it's lit so dimly? Because we had to come back and do this, and her hair's different now, and so we got to put a wig that's the wrong color and texture and length. Like, it looks weird.
Like, hey, we have this Laurie Strode wig from Halloween 2 lying around. Just throw it on.
God damn it.
But in grainy footage, we spy the tall building of Mulberry Hill Psychiatric Hospital, where Rebecca says Diana met their mother, Rebecca supposing that this is when Diana got inside Sophie's head and made her think that they were friends. In the courtyard of Mulberry Hill, we watch as Diana stands beneath her umbrella, whispering to a distant Sophie, who then walks back with her toward the building. Martin asks if they weren't actually friends, and Rebecca insists that they weren't, revealing that Diana only comes around when their mom is at her worst, and that she went through it too when she was Martin's age. Martin asks, "When your dad left?" And Rebecca confirms this, but Martin wonders what happened with Diana, and we watch through jittery footage as she's strapped down into a chair, Rebecca explaining that the doctors tried an experimental treatment on her, and something went wrong, and she died. We watch as the doctors dial up the wattage, a bright beam of light overtaking us and dissipating to reveal the remnants of Diana, stained and scattered across the chair. In a 75-minute film, that's egregious, man. We heard all this.
Yeah, I was going to say, we already seen the picture.
Yeah, and I don't really think Martin knowing it really helps anything.
No.
Someone protect this boy. He doesn't need to know everything.
But Martin doesn't understand. If Diana is dead, then how could she be doing this to them? Rebecca sighs, admitting that she doesn't know, but she says that she thinks their mother is the only connection that Diana has to this world. She supposes that if they can get her better, to get her mind strong again, then they can maybe break that connection. Martin doesn't think this is possible, though, insisting that Diana wouldn't let that happen. And when Rebecca asks why he would think that, Martin explains, "Because that's what my dad was trying to do."
Okay.
But the pair are interrupted by a knock on the door, Rebecca telling Martin that it's the food and stepping out of the living room to go get it. This is where I was like, she really fucking treats Brett like shit because not even Brett's back. It's the food. He's not a DoorDash driver. But Rebecca opens the door to find an empty hallway. She calls out nervously for Brett, but her only reply is a scratching sound, which shifts through the walls and back inside of her apartment. Rebecca follows the sound into her bedroom, imploring Martin to stay in the living room as she creeps her way over to her closet door, where the sound seems to be emanating from. She steps cautiously over to the wall, flipping on the light switch, the light leaking from beneath the closet door, and she opens it to find nothing inside except for her clothes. But Martin follows her into her bedroom, disobeying the only thing that she told him to do. And he stands behind her when suddenly Martin is pulled screaming beneath Rebecca's bed, reaching for his sister's rescue. Rebecca races for him, pulling him to safety after a struggle and with great effort. She cuddles her brother close to her, spying the small bit of darkness beneath her bed that Diana took advantage of.
That was a lot, Robin.
Yeah.
I feel like this was kind of beyond.
Okay.
Like, I feel like it gets to these wild heights of Diana chasing Martin back to his room, of Diana scratching her name into the floor and terrorizing Rebecca, of Diana whooping Sophie's ass, of Diana pulling the screaming child under the bed. We rise to these heights and then we come down and explain everything. And then we do it again and then we come down and explain. And it really, the pacing is just wild.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, we're just going to go on. Like, this is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And something else is the rules.
Yeah, that was this too, kind of here. We did do the door knock, so I do need the door open for me to get in.
Yes.
But you are able to be in any form of shadow. I don't understand. You couldn't do that earlier, or you were like, we got to turn off all the lights. It's like, you can't hide under the table and watch the movie from there.
Right.
Like, there's shadow down there, dude.
I mean.
And sometimes not even shadow.
No. And I think that's the thing is Rebecca opens the door and I've never seen a brighter hallway in my life.
Yeah.
I think if you have the lights flicker,
Right.
or maybe it's a trail of darkness where
Like at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. Because she can control the lights. We've already established that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
she shouldn't.
No, she
She
shouldn't.
shouldn't, but she can.
If she can, then let's see it.
Right.
Because otherwise, and especially what we see later with what light does to her,
Yeah.
she can't be standing out there.
No.
She couldn't have made it into this apartment.
Mm-mm.
How are we breaking the most simple rule that there is?
I don't know, but we are.
All
Yeah.
right. I think this is honestly why we said earlier that this is like a popcorn horror film.
Yeah.
A kettle
Yeah.
sriracha popcorn horror film. Because it's one of those things that if you are in a theater and you're watching it, this is a blast.
Oh, yeah.
But the second you start to think about it, you're like, why is this rule being broken at all? What are the rules?
What are the rules? No, I totally agree. It's fine. You just can't pull at any threads.
Yeah. But I think that's what the strength of this movie is
Yeah.
that. It's the momentum. We
For
just need
sure.
to keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Rebecca, Martin, and Brett arrive at Sophie's house, Sophie opening the door to let the trio inside, with Rebecca asserting that they need to talk. The camera then rises to find them sitting together at the dining room table. Sophie's stretching her arms and offering a little body roll for some reason. As Martin looks down at the saddest slice of pizza I've ever seen in my life, I don't understand why we're not talking.
Yeah.
The we need to talk and the cutting them sitting silently and eating
Yeah.
was fucking hilarious to me.
But Sophie's eyes widen at her daughter as she asks, "What?"
What do you
I know.
mean?
Come on, man.
Rebecca then asks her mother to tell them about Diana. Sophie strangely plays coy, wondering what Rebecca is even talking about. But Rebecca reiterates, "Your friend, Diana," sharing that Martin told her Diana was here an hour ago. Martin drops his slice of pizza, pushing his plate away, as Sophie admits that this is true, confirming that Diana is her friend. But Rebecca retrieves the photo that she found in Paul's office, sliding it over to her mother across the table and asking if the girl under the umbrella is Diana. Sophie sits stunned at the sight of the photograph, wondering where Rebecca found it. And this to me is all the more reason that the picture should have been within the files.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't understand how this is just hung on the wall like a family photograph.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Sophie doesn't know. And she's surprised to even see it.
Well, maybe she wasn't allowed to go in the office.
Well, she was snapping at it. But Rebecca implores her mother to answer the question. But Sophie demands instead that Rebecca answer her. Rebecca just continues that Sophie met Diana at Mulberry Hill when she was taken there as a teenager for her depression. She asks if that's correct, but Sophie seethes. What does it matter when we met? Rebecca explains that it matters because Diana died a year after this photo was taken. Sophie rises from the table, refusing to hear any more of this and accusing Rebecca of trying to take Martin away from her again and making up wild stories. Rebecca attests that she found Diana's obituary, but Sophie just counters that those things can be faked and that Rebecca sounds crazy. Again, not the nitpick, but Rebecca did not find her obituary.
Yeah.
She found a terrifying article
That's right.
about a disappearing woman.
It's as good as an obituary.
I guess. But Sophie says that Rebecca sounds crazy. She pleads with Brett to listen to her. Brett agrees that it all sounds a little crazy, and he attempts to find some common ground. But Rebecca interrupts that there is a dead woman in this house, and Sophie let her in. She let her stay. Sophie finally seems to understand what's going on. She thinks Rebecca feels guilty for abandoning her. She says that she didn't hear from Rebecca, and she didn't come to see her, asking her daughter if she knows how much that hurt her. But now, Sophie says, as it turns out, she's been shutting Diana out the exact same way all this time. She insists that she's not going to be the kind of person who does that to a friend. Rebecca seizes on this word, friend, She reminds her mother that they're talking about a dead person. A look of sympathy washes over Sophie as she reaches for her daughter's shoulders, explaining that ghosts aren't real.
Does that look like a regular ass person?
I know.
Spider-Man crouching, floating in the air, living in the shadows, snarling with the fucking
Pinhole eyes.
Yeah.
Is that what people look like to you?
Is that who you remember at Mulberry Hill?
That's crazy.
Mom, please.
But when Rebecca counters, asking what Diana is then, Sophie can't seem to summon an answer and instead exits the room, marching up the stairs to the second floor. We cut to Martin clearing the plates from the dining room table, Rebecca following him into the kitchen and giving him permission to stay the night at her apartment tonight. Brett joins them as Rebecca states that she'll be calling CPS in the morning. Martin rejects this, reminding Rebecca that though she's been gone for a long time, Sophie is still their mom, and she needs them now more than ever. Rebecca reaches a comforting hand to Martin's arm, telling him that he's her priority, but Martin insists that he can't just leave their mom, but Rebecca counters that it's not safe here. Martin rightfully retorts, "It's not safe anywhere."
And he's right.
Yeah.
He is, but as far as we know, Rebecca hasn't had to deal with this shit until they came back into her
True.
life.
Fair.
So she was safe.
So, Martin, you stay here.
The trio exit into the living room, Rebecca surveying their surroundings as she asks Martin how long Sophie usually stays in her room at night. Martin explains that she doesn't come out until the morning. And with that, Rebecca and the boys get to work. First, putting in some safeguards. Duct tape on the light switches, stashed flashlights, fixtures supplied with new bulbs, candles lit and spread throughout the house.
I mean, if a locked door can stop her, maybe tape can too.
Yeah, I mean,
We don't know. There's no wrong answer until you try.
Yeah.
we cut abruptly to Martin, settling into his bed upstairs. Rebecca waiting in the doorway and telling her brother that she and Brett will be downstairs on the couch. Before she leaves, she asks if Martin wants his door opened or closed, and the boy says he wants it closed. Like, what the hell is going on?
I don't know. I thought the same thing. Like, for real, I was flabbergasted. I had
Is
I don't
Diana?
understand.
She's only out at certain hours in the night. Like,
Yes.
I don't understand. Why are
Right.
we treating it like
put the curtains down, close the door. I was like, why?
leaving this small candle, I guess, is his
Yeah.
only, like, I don't understand.
He's like, you know what? Go on and lock me in.
But as Rebecca steps into the hall, Martin stops her, asking if she could sleep in here with him tonight, and Rebecca offers a soft smile as well as her agreement. She exits Martin's bedroom to tell Brett, closing the door behind her, but as she walks into the hall, she peers into the glass door of Paul's office, testing the lock before continuing downstairs. So maybe she's like, well, Diana's locked in or whatever.
That's her room.
Like, is that... The only thing that I thought would make sense is if they were trying to trick Diana.
Okay.
Like, they're making it like, well, he's up here vulnerable all alone.
Right.
Okay.
And then it turns out he's got like a massive flashlight to like blast her out of existence or something.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, he's actually vulnerable. up
Very,
there all
yeah.
alone.
Yes. But when Rebecca reaches the first floor, Brett is turning the couch into a makeshift bed with the help of a blanket and some pillows. Rebecca tells him that he doesn't have to stay the night, which Brett knows, and he offers sincere understanding when Rebecca tells him that Martin wants her to sleep in his room tonight. She approaches him, clutching his shirt and asking him if he's still going to stay. Brett answers that he will, unless she says otherwise, though he admits that it'll be kind of hard to sleep with all these lights on. Rebecca worries that he probably thinks her whole family is crazy, but Brett caresses her face, assuring her that he doesn't think that. Emotion overwhelms Rebecca as she embraces Brett, the score swelling around them as Brett tells her that she can be this way around him because he isn't going anywhere. The couple kisses sweetly, and Rebecca finally relents. Bottom drawer. Brett doesn't catch on, but Rebecca explains. The bottom drawer. she'll clean it out for him. He asks if she's serious, and Rebecca chuckles. Maybe.
I would say he's earned it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is sweet, but watching it, I was like, oh, Brett's dead.
Yeah. Oh,
No
no.
shit.
Yeah.
They bid each other goodnight, with Rebecca climbing the stairs and Brett doing a little celebratory dance before collapsing on the couch. But before retiring to Martin's bedroom, Rebecca checks in on her mom, knocking on her closed bedroom door. She then has a one-sided conversation with it. Mom, we're staying overnight. Okay, I'll see you in the morning. Love you. But just as she turns to walk away, Sophie opens the door, her eyes swollen and red as she confirms that Rebecca is really staying the night tonight. She trembles tearfully that she would like tomorrow morning to start over, if that's okay with Rebecca. Rebecca agrees, of course, but as Sophie wipes her tears away with her sleeve, Rebecca asks if she's ever heard from her biological father, letters, or anything. Sophie reveals that she never did, offering a lamentful apology, wishing that she had. She understands that Rebecca probably blames her for it, but Rebecca declares that she doesn't. It was her father's choice to leave, not Sophie's. Sophie nods in gratitude and understanding, her shaky hands opening the door wider to reach for her daughter and pull her closer. But after sharing a shivering embrace, Sophie palms something into Rebecca's hands, retreating into the darkness of her bedroom and closing the door behind her. Rebecca stands alone in the hallway, opening her hand to reveal a folded-up piece of paper where inside, scrawled in black ink, are the words, "I need help."
I wonder what happened, because that was such a 180 from dinner when she's like, no, she's my friend. She never died. And she's alive. And that's my friend. And then now she's like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, I just wonder, was she up there thinking and reflecting? Did something happen?
I don't know. Even with Martin, she was trying to make everything work with the three of them.
Yeah.
And then you have that scene, like you're saying. And so, it feels like there's a missing reel.
Yeah, I think Diana probably threatened to kill her.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. But Rebecca immediately heads to a nearby bathroom, searching frantically through the medicine cabinet to find Sophie's prescriptions. She also discovers an empty pill bottle in the garbage can. But when the light begins to buzz above her head, Rebecca retreats out of the bathroom and into Martin's bedroom, setting a flashlight on his nightstand before climbing into bed with him. This section I'm very puzzled by.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if what we're trying to establish here, because whatever it is isn't necessarily what happens later regarding Sophie's prescriptions.
Okay.
I don't know if we're trying to say that they've been sabotaged.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's how I took it, was that Diana had gotten rid of them somehow. I don't know the rules of what she can and can't do. So maybe she flushed him down the toilet as long as someone opened the door for her.
Right. But we learn that it's not true.
Well, that's another bottle.
Okay. Sure.
Or maybe they're Tony Ventura's pills from the Ring. Who the hell knows?
Her brother, who is still awake, asks if she was able to find their mother's medicine, and Rebecca replies that she couldn't, but she assures him that they're going to get their mom better. And I mean, I guess that explains what she was doing in the bathroom, but it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Martin believes his sister, who just tells him to get some sleep as she pulls the blankets tighter, her eyes darting around nervously. We then get some exterior shots of the house, which really reminded me of Insidious.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we see the bright lights beaming through each of the windows until suddenly all the power goes out, the once lit rooms all dipping to darkness. Rebecca jolts awake, the small candle on Martin's bedside her only source of light. She reaches fearfully for the nearby lamp, but when it fails to turn on, she snatches up the flashlight she brought, frantically winding it up, a bright blue beam blasting from it when it reaches full power. This is the worst flashlight for what we need.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, how did those even work?
They're wind. You just kind of wind them up.
So you
and
don't
then
need anything?
No, they don't take batteries. You just wind them up and then...
Well, that's pretty cool.
It is, but you do have to wind it.
Right. And when darkness is not our friend.
Yeah.
Even a split second of it? Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
But Rebecca leaves her sleeping brother all alone in his room, only with a candle that can very easily be blown out by a spirit.
Yes!
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, leaving him alone and taking the only fucking extra light source it's like in Friday the 13th part 4 when they left him and took the dog.
Yeah.
That's
What the fuck
true.
was that?
Take the child with you. Final chapter, excuse me.
Yes. Rebecca makes her way downstairs, calling out to Brett, only to discover the couch to be empty. But we find Brett outside, where he shines a flashlight up to a street lamp, realizing that the power has gone out, possibly for the whole block?
He had to shine the light up to the...
Yeah.
There's your problem.
The lights are out.
I kind of love Brett. I'm not gonna lie.
He's great. But inside the house, Rebecca opens the door to the basement, and we spy her from the bottom of the steps as she slowly creeps down them, finally making her way over to the breaker box. She switches them off and on to no consequence, but gasps when her flashlight suddenly dims. Surrounded by darkness, she winds it up feverishly until the light returns. Honestly, the more I'm thinking about it, it is kind of funny that Brett didn't go upstairs to check on them.
Nope.
Went to the source.
Yeah. But upstairs, Martin wakes up all alone in his bed, screaming for his sister when he realizes the room has gone dark. He tries for the lamp as well, and when it doesn't switch on, he snags the candle from his nightstand, holding it out in front of him as he searches for Rebecca. He enters the hall, a small breeze almost extinguishing the small flame, but Martin guards it with his hand, thankfully. He searches for one of the stashed flashlights at a side table, coming up empty, which is very strange because we did see him put it there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's probably the one Brett has.
Oh, shit. He just came up to get it and then left. But in the darkness of his abandoned bedroom, Diana rises, jittery and jagged, prompting Martin to run terrified toward the stairs. But before he can reach them, Diana suddenly appears right in front of him, grabbing for his leg and causing him to lose his footing. Martin lies frozen for a moment, clutching his candle, before he's dragged away in that kind of shot that everyone else was doing around this time.
Yeah.
But he's taken back down the hall into his bedroom by Diana. Martin screams, but when he holds the candle in Diana's direction, she cowers into a corner, the boy barely able to keep her at bay long enough to find his way down the flight of stairs. But down in the basement, Rebecca still attempts to set things right with the switches, but she's startled by Martin, who bursts through the door to join her at the bottom of the steps. Rebecca asks him what he's doing, but Martin counters, "What are you doing?" And he demands that she never leave him alone again. Rebecca promises, but Martin barks, "Ever!"
What do you mean, what am I doing?
I don't know. And she has the nerve after he says that. She goes, "Okay, all right."
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
And are you really down here like, oh, fuck, the breaker went out? How did that happen?
You know what's going
yeah.
on.
It's like "Don't Stop Me Now" is playing. It's like Shaun of the Dead. It's like, how many fucking switches have you done and nothing's happened?
Yeah. You know what's happening. The fucking darkness, man.
She loves it. But when nothing seems to work at the breaker box, Martin wonders what else it could be. Rebecca realizes a moment too late. A trap. The siblings glance up the stairs just in time to see Diana slamming the door on them, trapping the pair in the basement. This looks really funny.
Well, because what the?
Yeah, this is new.
Yeah.
Ghost trapping humans. You don't come out of there.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
They race up the steps, pounding on the locked door and shouting for Brett to help them, begging for him to let them out. Brett finally returns, his flashlight carving a path forward through the dark house as he follows the sound of the screaming siblings. When he reaches the basement door, he finds that it's locked. His flashlight shines into an adjacent doorway where Diana stands, disappearing when its beam reaches her. He asks, Mrs. Wells?
Oh, I
Really?
fucking died.
Sophie just does that sometimes.
Yeah.
Hold on, Bex. Your mom keeps disappearing out here.
Well, she's not feeling good, so I guess.
It's like, Brett, no! Recognizing what's happening on the other side of the door, Rebecca grows frantic, screaming for Brett to stay in the light. But Brett is far more focused on getting his kind of girlfriend out of the basement. He raises the flashlight to bash the doorknob, but unbeknownst to him, Diana seems to slink through the intermittent shadows, ever closer to Brett until she seizes him, throwing him to the floor.
I will say, too, that if you like bashing doorknobs,
Yeah.
We got you covered.
buckle up.
And I will say, these moments are really cool to me.
They
Yes.
are.
The moments of her appearing and disappearing and...
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing, is everything that they do with Diana, including the way that she herself looks.
Yeah.
It is consistently creepy. It's consistently good.
Yeah.
It's narratively where you're just like, okay, I'm going to roll with it because in 5 minutes, I'm going to see Diana fucking shit up again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Brett loses his flashlight in the tussle, and just before Diana can pounce on him, he reaches into his pocket, using the light of his phone lock screen to ward her away. He reaches his feet, waving the light of his screen in front of him as he backs away toward the front door. Heavy footsteps echo around him, but Brett finds solace in the small source of light in his hand. Until it goes out, revealing Diana standing right in front of him. She bats the phone away with a shriek, punching Brett in the face and knocking him to the floor, before crushing his device with a firm stomp. Brett exits the house, defying Rebecca's cries for help from the basement.
So does this mean that Diana has a physical form? We're tussling and like holding each other in a lock, and you threw me against the wall. Like what?
I know, you're about to frog splash me.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, because, and it doesn't, I'm very confused. Maybe it's like only certain kinds of light, and maybe we do learn that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But it makes her disappear, but it has no effect on her.
Right.
Yeah.
Until it does have an effect on her.
I don't know.
But Brett is at a full sprint now, racing down the driveway. Only when he reaches the shadow beneath the stone awning of the porch, Diana lurches out, cutting him off with a clothesline from hell. Diana lifts Brett off of his feet, potentially about to give him a backbreaker. We don't know. But Brett thinks fast, finding his car keys in his pocket and chirping the alarm, which causes his headlights to beam right at Diana, the villain vanishing and causing the floating Brett to tumble to the concrete. And again, this is another really cool moment
It is.
of him just being there, her not there. It makes me think of the sketchbook in the closet.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Brett then races for his car. Rebecca and Martin able to hear him start the engine, the little boy asking in disbelief, "Is he leaving?" A tearful Rebecca promises that Brett wouldn't do that, but Martin twists the knife, reminding his sister that she did.
Damn, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Not now, man. And the sounds of fucking the car, it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's not like there's a dinosaur out there or anything.
But when her little flashlight goes out again and she rushes to recharge it, Rebecca realizes that they need to find more light. Upstairs, Sophie exits her bedroom, entering the hallway by candlelight clutched in her hands and calling out to her children. She peers over the banister, and when she doesn't receive an answer, she calls out to Diana instead, discovering her standing in the doorway to the bedroom, slinking away into the shadows as Sophie approaches her with the small flame. Sophie fumes that she told Diana not to hurt her children, reminding that they don't know any better. Diana just retreats into the darkness of Sophie's bathroom, whispering indistinctly, to which Sophie responds, Do not threaten me, Diana. That killed me,
Yes,
dude.
yeah.
I think we've gone way past that.
Yeah.
So she does this, and Diana's like, I will kick your ass. Like, what is said? What was said? But Diana shrieks, the sound surrounding Sophie, who holds the side of her head before announcing with newfound strength, "No, you need me, Diana." But as the disturbing sound dissolves, Sophie whispers to her, "There's no you without me." Sophie reaches for her prescription bottle on her nightstand, declaring that this is something that she never... But before she can take her medicine, Diana attacks her, sending her flying into a dresser, bashing her head, and leaving her knocked out on the floor.
Real mature, Diana.
I can't.
Real mature. I stand up for myself, and that's what I like.
That's what you do?
Yeah. We're supposed to be friends.
I thought.
We're not friends.
No.
But down in the basement, Rebecca tosses scraps of paper into the furnace to feed the fire. But Martin wonders how long they'll be down here, worried that there aren't any windows. Rebecca insists that she's working on a plan, but Martin laments that he's not much help to her. She comforts her brother, assuring him that he's doing great and instructing him to keep looking through the boxes to find something. Martin opens up a tote, and underneath some Halloween masks and decorations, he finds a large blacklight tube, handing it off to Rebecca, who switches it on, the pair bathed in bright blue light. Rebecca uses the light to guide her way through the basement as Martin continues feeding the fire, but she's startled when she discovers a bright white handprint on the wall. She touches the sharp fingers of it, catching her breath as she continues onward. But beneath the stairs, Rebecca finds an unexplored section of the basement, creeping her way inside. But she jumps at a creak that she hears just behind her. Just as soon as she calms down again, another sound sends a jolt through her, causing her to arc the blacklight to the opposite wall, where she finds a grim collection of glowing graffiti. Just like in the hospital, trapped down here in the dark, trying to take Sophie away from me. Forget Diana.
I don't understand it either.
Okay.
Yeah. I was trying to think, okay, if we've got a UV handprint, if we find 2 more clues, we can identify what ghost she is.
There you go.
But
There you
this,
go.
I don't understand what's happening.
It looks cool.
It does.
But I don't understand.
I think the story, it would make a lot more sense if it's like, well, did Paul try to trap her down here? Did Sophie?
Yeah.
Like, why is she being seemingly held prisoner in the basement of this house?
Yeah.
Is that why she's so pissed off now? Like, there's a lot of missing. When you've told us the story 4 times, you're missing a pretty big part right here.
Because she
Yes.
was in the basement of her house as a kid.
Yeah.
But I'm like, wouldn't this read better like if this was like Sophie's family home and they were sisters maybe?
Okay.
And then you come down here and you see what had been done to her. I don't know because I don't get it.
Because this
Sophie
isn't-
was dead, or Diana was dead before they lived here. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
And she's comparing it to the hospital, so it isn't like this is Diana's family's
right,
house.
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I don't get it.
That doesn't make any sense. So she met her at 13.
Right.
She said that Diana passed the year after.
Mm-hmm.
But that we know that the doctors caused that.
Yes.
So did she spend the whole year with her there? Or we're like...
I don't know. And then Paul ghost hunted her and then trapped her in the basement.
I guess. But I mean, I think that would make a lot more sense if that was Paul's way of, quote, helping, unquote. He finds a way to trick Diana into the basement and traps her in there.
Yeah.
Which makes sense to why she would want to kill Paul.
Right. But he was still in the research stage when he died.
Yeah.
And if that is what we're supposed to infer, I don't walk away feeling I forgot about Paul at this point.
Honestly,
to be
yeah.
honest.
But Rebecca jumps yet again as her blacklight uncovers a section of battered and broken mannequins. She inspects them slowly, casting the light over them until she reaches one which is facing away from her with long and unkempt black hair.
So are these the mannequins too evil to keep in the warehouse?
Yes.
What the hell is this?
Don't know, dude.
They look cool, but again, why are they here?
Yeah. But we soon see that it's Diana, and she turns around with a shriek, her skin scarred, her eyes a milky white, and her teeth jagged. This reminds me a lot, and it's funny that Sandberg would go on to direct the Until Dawn movie, but there's a moment in Until Dawn where you open a door and then you get like fucking jump scared by a ghoul for no reason. And this looks just like that ghoul.
Okay.
And I do want to say, in the black light, to see this makeup and her eyes, she looks great.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
But the black light doesn't hurt.
Right.
I guess not. It shows her.
Right.
It's UV light. I don't know if that matters.
Yeah, I don't know. Fuck it.
Okay. I was looking over to Nate to see if she could help
I got
us,
nothing.
but she can't.
I was trying to make a pun with the letters UV, but nothing was coming.
Me too.
Nothing was coming fast enough.
I was like, UC? No, that doesn't work. Get past it. But Rebecca screams, running off in the other direction to find the exit. But she stops when she discovers a shovel resting against some shelving. She reaches for it for some reason. I don't know why she needs the shovel.
Yeah.
But Diana seizes her arm from the shadows, the blacklight having no effect on her. Again, we don't know why. But we watch as her flesh is suddenly singed from an unknown source. It's Martin to the rescue, winding up the rinky-dink flashlight. He urges his sister to follow him out, and she does, revealing to her brother that she saw Diana and that she doesn't disappear in the blacklight. Martin goes, "So?" Which is hell yeah, dude. Yeah. But Rebecca realizes that if they use the blacklight, they can see her and know where she is, using the other flashlight to hurt her. But heavy footsteps clatter above them, the siblings following the sound with their eyes, and watching as a clump of ash falls right on top of the flames in the furnace, snuffing them out. The pair stands together, unsure of what to do next, and with no other option, they scream for their mother, who still rests unconscious upstairs on her bedroom floor. Martin trembles. Are we gonna die? But Rebecca seizes her brother's shoulder, commanding, "No, we're fighters, you hear me? We're fighters." But this cringy bit of dialogue aside.
Yeah.
The pair are interrupted by the sound of police sirens wailing just above them. A cruiser parks in the driveway, its red and blue lights flashing, and they are flanked by Brett's car, the man of the hour, exiting his vehicle and directing the officers inside.
He went for
Yeah.
help.
I was so relieved because I was like, dude, if that's the end of
That
his
was
story.
so funny, dude.
Brett states that his girlfriend and her family are in danger. But Officer Andrews, played by Rolando Boyce, orders Brett back into his vehicle, commenting that he needs to get to a hospital. Andrews is followed by Officer Gomez, played by Maria Russell, the pair breezing past Brett's emphatic warning that they need flashlights, just once again directing him to go back to his car. They enter the house, announcing themselves as LAPD, as they do shine their flashlights through the darkened home. The siblings shout for help from the basement, and the officers respond swiftly, rushing over to the door and attempting to dislodge the doorknob. The officer's strikes awaken Sophie upstairs, who staggers across the floor to find her prescription pill bottle emptied of its contents and the medicine nowhere in sight. She pounds on her locked bedroom door, threatening Diana that if she hurts her children, they are never speaking again. I think we're past that.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, that is such a mild threat.
She reaches for a blunt object that I couldn't make out in the darkness, but she bashes the door with it, And we match cut to Officer Andrews doing the same thing downstairs, finally breaking the knob from the door and freeing Rebecca and Martin from the basement. But Diana hisses from the kitchen, Andrews drawing his weapon and shining his flashlight in her direction, causing her to retreat. As Gomez tends to Rebecca and Martin, Andrews inches his way forward, calling out for Diana to show herself, and despite shining a flashlight right in her face, Diana throws Andrews to the floor.
Yeah.
He reaches his feet, aiming his weapon and warning Diana to back off. He fires, the flash of each shot disappearing into Diana as she charges for him with a shriek.
It looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But then, like, nothing should hurt her. If a gunshot isn't hurting her, nothing should affect her, right?
Yeah.
One would think, and again, we just saw Martin's little flashlight burn the hell out of her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the fuck? Why? Did she let him do that? Was the UV light, did it help? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I also feel like Rebecca and Martin should be like, no, it's not going to work, Julie. She only exists in the darkness.
Yeah.
Like, they should be trying to explain something because this is not a normal situation.
No.
They're like a domestic disturbance. It's like, no, dude. This is not that.
Hell no.
But Gomez calls out for her partner, her flashlight beaming into the living room, barely catching Andrew's body being dragged away by Diana. She reaches frantically for her radio, calling in backup and exiting the hall to pursue Diana, refusing Rebecca's blacklight despite her insistence. That is one thing. Rebecca's like, you will not see her otherwise. That's a direct quote.
We need... Otherwise is very coherent for the moment. I feel like you need more context.
That's true. Like, what are you talking about?
No shit, it just sounds crazy.
It does. As Gomez disappears into the house, Rebecca realizes that she and Martin have to get out of here. But as she drags him toward the door, Martin refuses, steadfast that they can't leave without their mom. The pair go back and forth, Rebecca finally promising that she'll make sure their mother gets out of here with them. But before she can, Gomez reappears in the doorway to the kitchen. She stands motionless, her face torn to ribbons in the blue light, the vacant sockets of her eyes staring straight at the siblings.
I loved this visual.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I didn't remember this at all from the movie. And I was working on the script pretty late at night. And I was like,
scared?
I think that might be enough.
Is the cutoff.
Yeah. It looks incredible.
It does.
And this is what I was talking about. This is another victim with missing eyes.
Yeah.
It would be cool if it meant something.
But it doesn't.
No. But her body drops to the ground, Rebecca seizing her flashlight before Diana can get the drop on them. Brett reappears at the front door, Rebecca ushering Martin into his arms and to safety against the little boy's protests. As Martin drags him outside, kicking and screaming, Rebecca promises that she's going to get their mother. With both the blacklight and Gomez's flashlight, Rebecca creeps up the stairs, calling out to Sophie, but when she reaches the landing, Diana's unearthly voice intones, "Stay away, or I'll show you where I put your father."
Are you fucking for real, dude?
Wow.
So that's another layer that I wasn't expecting.
Diana! That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's another thing I'd like to know. Sophie didn't know that, right?
So Diana must have like hidden because she's like, oh, he abandoned me. Like he ran off.
Yeah. But I feel like that would have been a good flashback or something to see.
Fair.
And I feel like they're like, let's just do one more fucked up thing. It's ending. It's over right now.
Yeah.
Rebecca whimpers, backing away and near to a closet door that she doesn't realize is slowly opening. Diana's frightful fingers reach for her, but Rebecca is able to put her body to the door, singeing Diana's arm with the beam of the officer's flashlight, which works now. But the fiend breaks free, sending Rebecca to the floor where she drops the blacklight. Diana then swoops upon her, lifting Rebecca above the railing and hurling her down to the first floor, where she lands on her stomach in a painful thud.
That's mean as hell, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That looked so painful.
Yeah.
Rebecca groans, clutching at her ribs, but before she can make any meaningful movement, Diana leaps down and proceeds to thrash Rebecca's ass all around the house for a little while. She stands menacing over Rebecca, her shadow fanged, hairy, and mad.
Very good.
Thank you. But before she can attack, a voice shouts from the other room, "I told you!" We turn to find Sophie, armed with the officer's gun as she seethes. "Don't hurt my kids." Rebecca lies cowering on the floor as she trembles. "Mom, she killed Dad." Sophie's eyes fill with tears as she pulls the trigger, only for the flash to rip right past Diana, who rasps, "That won't hurt me."
Diana, shut up.
I know.
I think you were
know.
scarier when you were talking shit.
And this isn't your moment.
No.
So your weapons cannot harm me.
But this is when Sophie turns the gun on herself, pointing the barrel at her own skull as she declares, "This will. There's no you without me." Rebecca's eyes widen with horror, demanding to know what her mother is doing, and Sophie just answers simply, "Saving your lives." As Diana dives for Sophie in slow motion, she pulls the trigger. She collapses to the floor, and woeful cries escape Rebecca, Diana dissolving in a small flickering flame and a puff of black smoke.
I could not believe what just happened.
No.
Not at all. And this is where I was like thinking of the potential readings of this film.
Right.
That might be the worst way to end this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Rebecca crawls for her mother, sobbing over the rubble of her body, and we find Brett outside, cradling a tearful Martin, assuring him that he's okay and that he's got him. But in the flashing red and blue lights of emergency vehicles that now swarm the property, Brett walks down the driveway and into the street, where Rebecca sits, holding Martin on the back of an ambulance. He offers her a bottle of water, which Rebecca accepts, but she breathes in grateful disbelief that Brett came back, to which Brett answers, "Of course he did." But Martin turns to face his sister, whispering, "So did you." Rebecca concurs with a kiss on Martin's forehead as she declares, "No more running away. We're here to stay." She locks eyes with Brett for a mere moment of solace, but fear finds her firmly when the ambulance's lights begin to flicker as the driver turns the key in the ignition. But Brett calms her, assuring her and her brother that it's nothing. He puts his arm around the pair, promising that he's got them, and Rebecca agrees. They're never going away. The camera rises above them, bathed in the bright lights of the surrounding vehicles, as we cut to black, and through a very neat little sequence, the credits roll. So, what did you guys think of Lights Out? But before we get into that, I did want to talk a little bit about this ending and at least what Sandberg had mentioned about it.
Okay.
The fact that it ends so abruptly and the reading of it can be so fucking horrible.
Yeah.
I read an interview with him in the AV Club, and he had said that from its genesis, his idea for Lights Out was always meant to be about depression, and that it's something that he's struggled with his whole life, that it's something that he is very serious about. And I guess whenever the film was still in the treatment stage, before it became a screenplay, his ideas for the film were much more deft at handling this subject matter.
Okay.
Another thing is he said that there were initially 10 more minutes of the film after this scene.
Oh.
And he said that what was supposed to happen was them dealing with the major fallout of Sophie's death, Martin overcome with emotion and depression from what he witnessed tonight, and it being what brings Diana back.
That's what I was expecting. I really thought that there would be some kind of stinger, some kind of sequel bait, some kind of something. Her like being in the shadow, anything, like her eyes in the darkness, anything. But I was like, oh, it's just over.
Yeah.
And Sophie's dead.
And that's the problem. And the other thing is he said that it would be kind of setting up for them to deal with Diana once and for all.
Right.
And he said that the intent was for the trauma of this to be addressed in the sequel. For him to say, no, Sophie, that was not a solution.
Yeah.
That did not solve anything.
Right.
It only created more heartache.
Yes.
It only made things horribly worse.
Okay.
Which is a much better message to send than what this film does without having that.
Right.
But the sequel was never made.
Mm-hmm.
It was greenlit literally the week of the release, and it's been 9 years. And I read an interview with Sandberg from, I think, March of this year, and he's like, look, that kid's all grown up. He's like, this sequel,
Yeah.
the time has passed.
It's done.
Honestly.
So lights out, it lights out on lights out.
Yeah.
That's basically all that we're going to get. That's the story, and that's the ending for it. But I guess the test audiences hated that extra 10 minutes, and so they cut it.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. Me personally, I don't like reading this movie like that. Because it does ruin the ending.
Right.
A lot. And like I said earlier, I'm taking this at what the movie tells me at face value. My mom was possessed by a ghost, or a ghost latched onto my mom, and like this is what she thought the only solution was to help. Because if not, this movie's
Yeah.
But for me, the movie as a whole, I really enjoyed, again, Diana, what was going on, the kills, the like whatever scares we get are very cool. I do like this idea, again, of the light going out. There's something there, you turn it on. It's not. Like, this is very cool. My beef isn't even with a lot of the acting either. It's just the story. You're telling us over and over what we already know.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the characters don't remember what's happening, or it's like them forgetting what's the big bad or whatever's going on, it is just like, is this serious to you or not? It's like, are you really scared, or do you know this is, or do you think this is a joke? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then dude too, Brett, I feel like he could have been more utilized.
Mm-hmm.
I do like his character. I just feel like he's there just for certain things to happen. He was there so that she can have a shoulder to lean on. He was there so that he can get them out of try to get them out of the basement, then have the funny the scuffle, and then just leave and bring the cops back.
Yeah.
Like, even him at the end being like, it's okay. You also know what we just went through and seen and witnessed that with us.
Yeah.
At the end. You're very calm for, it's okay, babe. You should be scared too that light flickered.
Oh, yeah.
Diana whooped his ass too.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. It is just the story for me that kind of hurts it. Because I did have fun watching this. And it is a perfect popcorn movie, like you're saying.
Kettle Sriracha popcorn movie.
Kettle Sriracha popcorn movie.
Thank you.
And again, even putting it on at a party or a get-together or whatever, this movie's fun. We're going to watch it. Say whatever you think about it. We're doing this as a group, because if I'm really looking too much into it, yeah, I'm going to question things, and then my enjoyment's probably going to go down a little bit.
I agree completely. I think that visually it is really, really cool. I think it's fun. It's a fun throw-on movie. It was really, really fun to talk about.
Yes.
But you can't pull one thread. And it is hurt by the fact that the story is pretty convoluted, yet and still they explain it to us about 6 times, adding something different every time. Like, I don't know. That obviously, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. That is where it's lacking.
Mm-hmm.
But I love what they were able to accomplish practically. It's extremely impressive. I think that everybody really showed up and clocked in. Everybody did a really good job. All the actors. The lighting is cool. The score was good. I mean, it's just a fun throw on movie. You guys want to watch Lights Out? Sure. And then you kind of talk over it while it's on. You know what I mean? It's one of those. And eat your
Sriracha.
kettles, sriracha popcorn.
If we haven't earned a sponsorship, I don't know what to tell you. But no, I do agree with both of you. I think that there are some really good moments in this film.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're kind of strung together in such a way that isn't very satisfying. But if you take them bit by bit, you're like, wow, this is some really cool practical effects.
Yeah.
Excellent tension, really good suspense. It's just the stuff that's around it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because I feel like there are some little tweaks that they could have done to make this work. I'd be very interested to see what this film was like from Sandberg's original idea.
Yeah.
I can't help but think it would have made for a better story and a better message.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, I think that's the thing that kind of, it always, every single time I watch this film, I'm having like a blast. And then we get to that ending and you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they did to close this thing out. And then it's just like a whimper. And it's kind of upsetting. And I do not understand. You make a film that's a production budget of $5 million, you make almost $150 million on it, and you never make a sequel?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
It's very surprising.
Yeah.
Especially when it seems like everybody was ready to do it. Sandberg talked about it, and he had said that the screenwriter, Xxena, was already working on different ideas for stories. Like, so it's very strange to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that it's definitely one that I will return to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the last time I'll watch Lights Out, but it is one of those things, exactly as you're both saying, where it's like, don't really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to even follow its own rules. It's cool to look at and cool to watch and very fun.
Yeah.
But, that's about where it ends.
Yeah.
It's a fun film to have on to watch. It's really short, We can slide into ratings.
It's really
Yeah,
short.
It is. I think I would probably just be repeating myself if I continue to say much more, but a couple of things that I do want to highlight that we didn't get to talk about really. I think that the music in this film is fantastic. It was done by Benjamin Wallfish, who also did the music for It.
Oh.
I think that he is a really, really good composer.
Yeah.
But I think that the performances are really good for what's going on here, especially Maria Bello. I like the chemistry between Teresa Palmer and the actor who plays Brett.
Yeah.
I think that Gabriel Bateman is killing it.
Yeah.
He does really good.
Yeah.
Like, he's going through a lot, and he's really good at showing all that he's going through.
Yeah.
But it's just that narrative. I feel like if they had maybe given it another rewrite to make it a little more cohesive, because when you're starting to conflict with yourself, and you have 4 scenes that are basically research scenes, like almost in a row.
Yeah.
And it's really, really odd, especially for a film this short. Why are we constantly retelling the same story that we already know?
Right.
Why are we seeing Diana get burned to death when we just heard her get burned to death?
Yeah.
Like, it's just an odd choice. But aside from that and the ending, which I just flat out do not like, I think that it is still a fun watch and one to return to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's really all for me. And I'll say out of 10 devious dips to darkness, I will give Lights Out a 5.5 devious dips to darkness out of 10. It feels right to me.
Yeah.
I thought about giving it a 6, but the narrative issues of this thing are just kind of wild to me.
Yeah.
But I'll now open the floor to you.
No, I agree. I think it's just that because and I don't mind the ending so much. Like I said, I'm taking the message and whatever's going on in the movie as what is happening.
Right.
So I don't mind it too much. It is very just like, oh my God, that, what happened. But I do feel like the beginning and the end are fine. It is just that whole middle, like you're saying. And for it being that short, there should have been something else there in the middle. Not only that, it is sometimes the flashlight burns her, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know how do we know when damage phases? You know what I mean? I have no idea.
Right.
None of us do. They tried and it was just it was odd. And again, I know we'll just keep repeating. But I did like a lot of stuff in the movie as well. But it is just the fucking narrative, man. The breaking of the rules. I need to knock on the door. You got to open it so I can be in another shadow. But I am the shadow. I'm the knight, but I can't be the knight unless you invite me in.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense, and it's very weird. But I agree 100%. I would watch this movie again. I'll fucking throw it on, invite people over, and then just be like, hey, how's it going? Let's make fun of this movie or enjoy it or whichever.
Right. Because there's a lot of both.
Yeah, that's what makes it hard to score this one. Because I did like everybody in it. I like what's going on. It's just what's going on with the plot and everything. It wasn't really doing it for me at times when I needed it to. But even with all that to say, I did have a fun time talking about Lights Out. I did have a fun time watching it. The momentum really carries this. It just needs to be put on. Don't stop it and just watch it for what it is. But for me, on a scale from 1 to 10, devious dips to darkness, I'm going to give Lights Out a 6 out of 10 devious dips to darkness. I did have fun, and I did like what was going on for what the movie is telling me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I think you guys kind of nailed everything. I don't think that there's anything else that I can add. I just this is an odd one because like you just said, there is both. There's a mixture of, oh my God, that was actually pretty fucking creepy. That part with the cop, that's probably my favorite shot of the whole film. It's genuinely scary. And Diana, from the very first opening, the first opening from the opening, she's very scary, very creepy. I love the way she moves. I love the sound design with the crackling bones and stuff. I think she is fantastic. I think that she does not play by her own rules.
No?
No.
And I don't mean that in a good way. The movie just kind of gets in its own way at times, and it feels like you can tell that we're doing too much. It was not what it was originally intended to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that does hurt it. But it is still a fun watch. And like I said, I had fun talking about it. So on a scale from 1 to 10 devious dips to darkness, I also gave Lights Out a 6 out of 10. I would watch this again with the lights out and with my kettle sriracha popcorn.
Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate Lights Out, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Instagram at the Pod Mortem. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and like our Stirhole Productions page on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Instagram and Blue Sky at TravisMWH, at Blood and Smoke, and at Juggalo Daddy 84. Thanks again to Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, where you'll gain access to over 200 hours of bonus content, our monthly schedule, our Discord server, and the opportunity to help us decide which films to cover. And if you're looking for Pod Mortem and Stairhole Productions merch, follow the link in our episode notes. Stay tuned until after the music for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, if you ever feel enveloped by overwhelming darkness, know that it's never too late to shine a light. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned. We want to give a very special thank you to all of our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo, yeah.
Amazing work. A special thank you to Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent Morton, Lala Tamez, Travis and Nisa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Jennifer Perez, Allison O'Neill, Carissa, TJ and Angie Bronson, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Kimberly Kleindienst, Sydney Smith, Bobby Holmes, Donna Eason, JD Rizak, Molly Gerhard, Armand Spasto, Aaron Aguirre, Eggy, William Barry, Charity Oxner, Amanda Six, Mandy Rainwater, Eden, Jordan Roberts, Dylan, Liz Heath, Spencer Montalvo, Pancake the Panda, John Ramos, Michael Newting, Alexis Roberts, Dan Laveau, Itzy M., Gary Horton, Kate Lamp, Carlos and Sydney, Jessica Hunter, Helena Rutter, Alan Johnston, Mariah, Livy Fun, Scott Troutman-Wise, Towton Watson, Mozzie Bear, Dave Burke, Emma Hagel-Kissinger, Valerie G., Emiliana, CB, Taylor Santana, Will Lewison, Angelique, Smelly Poo Poo Head, Beth Bauer, Cookie, Esperanza J., Jason Kyle OKC, Joshua Rumley, Danielle Peralta, Brandon, Sawyer Reese Farr, Sahara, Girl That's Scary, Cassandra, Andrea Simmons, Ashley Higuera, William and Xxena Rush, Ryan Brom, Megan Ochoa, Laura Lassiter, Eileen O., Marissa E., Henry F., Megan M., Strangely Sarah, Christy Beck, Nancy and Andy, Amanda Lopez, Andy Terrell, Jason Hanovan, Erica Morin,
Tris Wynn, K.87, Mariah Jensen, Carrie A., Lonnie Lono, Powell, Kayla E., Maggie H., Murder Stina, Kristen Marcy, Ori 81 Bariqua, Look Like That One Girl, Bog Boy, Felnez 63, Alita Pui, Probably My Jugs, Kate Thackeray, Wade Pack, A Lizard, Bay J., Jay Rich, Topher Williams, Elena Metler, Valerie K., Christy Lee Kruger, Professor of Humanities Laura McCarricker, Naomi, Josh Smith, Autumn Green, Abby Kopp, Crystal 831, Skank Sinatra, Morgan Alexander, Tony Osteen, Julie Fredborg, Rihanna S., Daniel Taylor, Anna Kate, Heather Ortiz, Kim H., August, Vengeance Spirit, Jenny May, Glittery Fab, Malik Caselli Armstrong, Scarly D., Toya Shea, Katie, Martin Shaw, Star, Tyler, Cam Davies, Patrick Hoagland, Raven, D, Wesley Tart, Kristen Jackson, Jacob Nordberg, Spencer, Samantha, Damian Grant, Half Price Horror, Clemmy, Nisi Nay, Erica, Jason X Rules, Karen Burrows, Aaron Norman, Stephen Rogers, Victoria Smith, Patricia A. Graham, Erasmo Pena, Danielle Wright, Tabitha Thomas, Richard Murray, Irene, Sally Slater 52, Jordan McCarthy, Christy Michelle Wilson, Rosalind Harnias, Emily Rance, Amy, Lisa and Kathy, Mike H.,
Christian Sadler, Hannah, Sarah Jack, Casey L., Evelyn Knight, Paula Garcia, Nikki M., Ghastly Granddad, Megan and Alexander Saldivar, Lisa Sykes, Sonny Jonas, Kelsey Niemeyer Cook, The Face Flowers, JG, Morgan Novello, Ashley, Alex M., Brandon C., Gordon Sutherland, Georgia Renland, Ashley Poe, Najee P., Seth Schaff, Diana Joe, Connor Gormley, Carrie Parker, Katie Face, Jane Pillsbury, Caitlin Asher, Mia Franz, Pooh Bear, Spicy Caldera, This is the Zodiac Speaking, Jason the Ghost, Moldy Tic Tac, Brian Ward, Tanner Rutgers, Gremlin Keeper 22, Sam Spade 666, Veronica, Kristen Rhodes, Daniel Laurent, Carmito, TVR, A Very Sweepy Baby, Randy Tucker, Nicholas Rage, A Lazy Boy, Nicola Williams, Sadison Miles, Jasmine, Stu Corbett, Daniel Smith, Brick O, Jaden Nicole, Jody Grody, Lost Fan 08, George L. Robertson, Mercedes X Bleeple, Joel Miller Apologist, Jalen Perry, Cool Trainer Elijah, Mrs. Bloomingdale, Sierra Duncan, Renee Hart, Meg Like Sleep, Final Boy, Alani, Nosferatu, Elizabeth Thompson, Joey, Michelle Nicole, The Lipstick Demon, Less Than Zombie, Franklin Badge, Sean Reeves, The Kryptonian Orphan, Aria Carter, and Melissa B. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate you so much, and we hope that you know that for us, you keep the lights on.
Aw, yeah.
We appreciate you very much.
Yeah.
Until next time.